Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'd call to order the Haslet City Council this Monday, August 4th, 2025 at 7 p.m. There is a quorum present. All members are present. If you'll bow your heads with me, offer an invocation, and then stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, Almighty Father, for your grace and goodness. We so much appreciate your watching over us and guiding us, our country, our state, our city. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 3, citizen participation and comments. Do we have any? Are they for a particular agenda item?
We have several for 7I. I think most of them are for 7I, a couple for 7A. And then we have one for 7F. Some don't say.
Some don't say what agenda item.
Correct.
I would go ahead and read those now. Do we have anybody online?
We do have people online. No questions at this point.
Very good.
Would you like me to introduce them?
Say it again.
Would you like me to introduce our new people here tonight?
Yeah, please go ahead and take that opportunity.
Perfect. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight we have Richard Martin from Datamax. That is our current IT company, and they're going to be taking over the audio-visual responsibilities for these meetings. He has two of his employees with him.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Richard Martin. I'm the Technology Services Delivery Manager at Datamax. I also have two individuals, Kelly Beggs and William O'Gorman. They're two individuals that work for me, and they will also be working with me to run the meetings.
Very good.
So thank you for having us.
Yep, and we're doing a little training tonight, so we're a little crowded over here, but that's what everybody's doing. They'll be watching, and we'll try to keep things like we typically do.
Excellent. Well, I know that you and Mr. Harvey will be very appreciative. All right, for those items that were not designated for any particular item, please go ahead and read their comments.
Okay, and those are for the speaker card.
Okay, they're speaker cards.
Correct. And I have this one.
All right, who's our, for no particular, I mean, if there's no particular item.
One of them is missing the item, but most of these are for 7I.
For the one, I'm assuming that they're speaking on, they'll speak at that item.
Okay.
For the one that you said there's no designation for the item.
Let's see, let me divide these into 7I. Joel Bullard, are you 7I? I am. Okay, I'll write it in. Okay, 7I, 7F, 7I. So one 7A, several for 7I, and one for 7F.
One for 7A. All right. Okay, when we get to that, please remind us.
Okay.
All right, so is anybody in the audience would like to address the council now at this time or wait to their prospective item? There is none in the council chambers, and there is none online that wish to address the council at this time.
No, sir.
Very good. Let's go to item 4, community items of community interest. There's a special council meeting on August the 11th, 2025 for the city budget hearing. 4B is the Metroport Chamber of Commerce luncheon. It'll be held Wednesday, August 13th at the Texas Motor Speedway from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. There will be a number of us attending. We have a table of 10. It is almost full, and I know that Ms. White has put out an email with regard to that. Updates on active items, projects, and event recaps. Community park projects. Mr. Tucker, you want to go ahead and give that since I know you're the author of it?
Yes, sir. Just a quick update on some of the park projects that are going on. There is the active drainage improvement project going on in Community Park. Just so far, they've completed the underbridge portion of it, so they've installed basically drains that drain that water away from the sidewalk area that was causing algae to grow. They've also completed the riprap. That's a large material that goes on the ends of the bridge embankments that keeps erosion from happening. That's been mostly completed there. They've completed all the flat work for the sidewalks with exceptions for the footings for the pavilions and the other shade structures. Those have had a longer delivery time than expected, and so we're waiting on updates on that for the footing designs. And then the box culverts for the crossing on the west side, they are scheduled to arrive August 28th. We've also, at the request of several people, have ordered replacement sand volleyball net and pole system. The one that was out there was our original one, and just with budgeted money, we've gone ahead and got a replacement for that, and we expect it installed by mid-August. At Nance Field, the dugout benches in the little small field, they have basically faded and they rot kind of from the inside, so they were in need of replacement, so we've got the replacements for those, as well as the backstop pads and bases. We're expecting those to be in by middle of this, or installed by the middle of this month, as well as 4 replacement lights on the field. These are 2 on the softball side and 2 that are in the main field. And then as well at the fire station fields, those same replacement backstop pads and bases. And then we have quotes we've been reviewing for a modular restroom and the storage area that's supposed to go behind there as well.
Question for you, sir, Mr. Mayor, if you don't mind.
Sure.
When it comes to the bases, what kind of new bases are you all installing there? Because the current ones don't go into the ground and they're not stationary, which is terrible for the boys because it slides around. It's not the safest in the world. Are they going to actually update them with, good bases, or are they just going to buy some new bags and throw it out there?
Well, we don't currently own any of the bases. I believe they're owned by HSA. That's not real clear. The city has never purchased them. So we went ahead and purchased ones that fit with the same sockets. I believe for one age group, they do have the ones that if you slide in, they come loose as needed for that. But they will be similar to what was there currently. And these are just maintenancing items.
But they will have the post that goes into the ground that holds the base stationary?
Not permanently. There's 3 positions those bases are moving at Nance Field. So
Correct.
They are identical to what's there now. We ordered the same ones that are being used.
Okay.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Joel Bullard, 108 Harley, Mr. Mayor, Council, HSA President. What bases are you referring to, James, that are loose?
Over at Mansfield?
They don't have the base on them?
No, sir. Not as of last season, they didn't.
Like there's not anchor, or the anchor's going back out?
Neither. I'm not sure. There's just no anchor. The base just slides freely. Correct.
I got you.
If there is an anchor, the bases don't have one because they sit flush. So it's either the base doesn't have one or we don't have an anchor hole for it. So again, this just as of last season, it wasn't there. That's why I was curious since we're buying new bases.
I did misunderstand your question. There is 3 basically buried sockets that are out there. If they're not visible, then they're just covered over. They were visible in the early part of last year, but there is anchor points for
So
all.
we're buying bases that will fit those sockets, correct?
Correct.
Okay, that's what I want to know.
All
Because
right.
as of last season, the bases were loose.
Okay, 'cause we just discussed this last week at our board meeting. and we're buying new bases.
Okay.
And new backstop pads, so this is news to me. So
well-
I'll tell the board to disregard.
Definitely don't order new backstop and bases, we have those covered.
Okay?
And they, if they're not being placed down there with sockets, that is at whoever's utilizing the fields aren't putting them in the sockets because they are out there.
They're missing.
Sure, you have big plugs.
Yeah, the plug is missing is what it sounds, or it's covered up.
Yeah.
Well, very good. I would ask that we continue this on, and you can coordinate with Mr. Tucker.
James. Thank you. Appreciate
Very good. Thank you.
James, just one question. For a community park, I think we mentioned it Saturday, but the water bottle fill station, where are we at with that?
2 weeks was the delivery time. I inquired again today, but they had I think a 7 to 9 week, and 2 weeks from now is the delivery at 9 weeks. So that's the expectation.
Very good, thank you.
And James, when y'all install the new home plate on the smallest field at Nance, there have been some huge holes in in those batter boxes. Have those been addressed and filled in? Because a lot of times when teams are playing there, they basically have to like jump out of the hole to go across the home plate to run to first. It's dug down so much.
Okay, I'll look into that and
Okay.
we'll address it if it's.
Thanks.
James, I'll get with you on that as well.
Very good. All right, the thoroughfare improvements, Blue Mountain Road East. Some of you may have noticed speed humps have been removed, and they're being replaced with speed cushions. This will allow drivers to comfortably traverse those speed cushions at 25, 30 miles an hour without jarring any teeth. The speed humps were designed for 20, but in actuality, people are slowing down to 15 or 12 miles an hour to go over. So that the speed cushions will go in tomorrow. That'll be finished, and the following day on Wednesday, the new stripes will be put on, and that will be completed.
So that those will be permanent.
They're permanent.
And what was the cost on
I believe it was $48,500.
pull up the other one? So what is the speed cushion again? That's I've never heard of it. Is it shorter than a speed hump? Wider?
It is as wide. It is it's 3.5 inches tall, and it has a table. Some people call it a speed table, speed cushion, are used interchangeably, but it's not just a hump. And that the ramp is a different design going up, which allows for a higher speed traverse without an abrupt hump. That came out of street improvement funds. Veterans Memorial Garden landscape architect has been retained. Mr. Chuck Fiedler, the park board representative for this project, has been notified. Mr. Tucker was notified. This was last week, and they'll commence that design work, which will be presented to the park board. Public Works equipment, Mr. Tucker.
Yeah, this is a dump truck that was a capital item for this budget cycle, and we have just received the chassis has come into the vendor, and they currently have it being upfitted with the actual bed. Pictured here, that first one you see in the very beginning is the chassis that they're going to be building off of. We're expecting to get the completed project about mid-September, and that'll be a much larger dump truck than what we currently have. We only have the 1 6-yard, and this will be the 10 to 12, and it'll have a sander for winter operations. So we're excited to receive that.
Very good. Moving on to the consent agenda. We have a number of items here. Most of them are the public improvement districts, and just for the benefit of the public, the public improvement district is a pass-through cost. The city is just a collector, and these are essentially bonds executed by developers to pay for their infrastructure that they build in the subdivisions, and is just collected by the city and passed on to that developer. So, consent agendas to you, council. Do you have any questions on any item? If there is none, may I have a motion? Yes.
I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
Motion is made to accept the consent agenda as accepted. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
There is a second. All in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you, council. Item 7, public hearings, ordinances, resolutions, and action items. 7A, discuss and consider and act entering into a service agreement with Thomson Reuters Clear, a nationally recognized investigative research platform utilizing a government agencies to enhance data access, streamline enforcement activities, and improve debt recovery. The system will support the city operations in code enforcement, building safety, development services, and finance. Mr. Thetford.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Essentially, this is a contracted service by Thomson Reuters. The CLEAR project, or the CLEAR reporting system, is actually used by Tarrant County Sheriff as well as Fort Worth Police Department. Our code officer, she comes from both of those backgrounds, and she actually has looked into this and said this is the route that we need to go for our investigative tools and services for doing all kinds of investigations in our code enforcement, building services, doing some background investigations on some of our contractors. We do have this budget for next year. We do have a portion of it in our budget for this year. That is detailed in the report. I think I do have our rep with Thomson Reuters, Kyle Keene. He's supposed to call in. Can you, James, do you know if he's online? Okay. He was invited to call in. I'm not sure if he made it or not.
All right, Mr. Thetford, won't you give us an example of how this is used, or how your department will use this?
Correct. Say abandoned vehicles, we can run license plates. Right now, if we run a license plate, we can only run license plates for within Texas. That's the system that we have. If we want to go outside of Texas for running a license plate, whether it's a whatever it is, we can run those through this system, and it will give us more information than what's readily available to the general public. That's code enforcement. Like I said, we can run investigations on some of our contractors that want to pull permits, make sure they're valid and up. So it'll give us a full snapshot of what they're all about. Also, back on the code enforcement, if we want to pursue liens on properties, this tool will be a valid tool for us to research that information and give us all the lien holders for any of those properties. So that's just a few items, and there's a whole lot more than.
So these are items, or these are needs you run into on a regular basis?
Yes, sir. Last week we had three occurrences where we could have used this.
All right then. Council, you have any questions for Mr. Thetford?
I just have one question. So this is a 3-year term, and you, after it's 3 years,
Yes.
you just decide on the 1, 2, or 3 year.
Yeah, Mike, are there any cities around us, near us in the area that currently use this?
I've asked that question, and that information is actually private, and they will not disclose that information to us as to who uses the. Now we can go to each city personally, one-on-one, ask them to use it, but I know Fort Worth and Tarrant County both use it.
Okay.
Ms. White, you had a speaker for this item?
Yes, I do. Sandra.
Mr. Thetford, I had one more question before you step out. Does this system make your life and your department more functional and more efficient for the city? Thank you, sir.
Ms. Smith, you'd state your name and address, please.
Sandra Smith, 300 Gamble Street. For the past decade, I've been dealing with identity issues, addressing issues, name issues, all of which are loaded into this tool. It's a very powerful tool. What you didn't hear is all your financial information is in there, your bank accounts, everything about you, which I understand this is a great tool. I know that the Tarrant County Sheriff's Department, I can speak to that. I know the Tarrant County Sheriff's Department uses it, and we're already contracted with them. But I feel strongly that this is a good tool for code enforcement, because we have some real issues in Old Town with people who do not live here. They're transients in and out of the houses. You know, they show up in the evening and they hang around the park, and there's a lot of folks that hang around Old Town that are questionable. So I believe it's a great tool for law enforcement, probably a great tool for code enforcement. But I'm a little bit concerned about our city, and I'm not going to make any accusations, but there's been some real questions about code enforcement overlooking some things. Now, I'm not saying that about our new code enforcement officer. I've met her, spoke with her, and impressed with her. But there are other individuals that work for our city that have not protected my information. So, you know, I just want you to know, if you do this, there needs to be some really high accountability. I looked at the backup data, and it appears there's going to be 2 licenses. So I don't know if those are individual specific or those licenses are to the city and anybody in the city staff can use them. I don't know. Y'all need to ask more questions, because it is a very powerful tool. It has everything about you. And you would think law enforcement would, law enforcement, you would hope, has the obligation to protect that information. But I think whoever is licensed to use that for our city really needs to be scrutinized, and they need to really be held accountable if they look into people's private information. Yeah, I know there's some folks, I think my 3 minutes, but code enforcement needs to use something, because there's problems in our town. And we have at least one individual on council that knows there's problems because their family owns those properties and they don't do anything about it. Someone on council sits there and is complacent and lets it happen. And that individual knows who it is. It's terrible. It's shameful.
All right, thank you, Ms. Smith.
Mr. Mayor,
Excuse me, just a minute, please.
Any further questions?
Yes, sir.
I was going to ask if Mr. Thedford could come up and address some of her.
He's there.
I was going to ask that before he came up. So.
Mr. Thedford, can you address some of those concerns?
Yes, so the 2 licenses that Ms. Smith's talking about, so basically that's going to be one for Pam Smith and myself. We both have a law enforcement background, have been through background checks, some things that we've done in the past, and I think we fairly check out that we're not going to provide any information to the general public that's not needed. After talking with Mr. Keene with Thompson Reuters, he scrutinizes everything that we submit through that system. And if anything looks fishy, he's going to be calling me and asking what's going on with that. So it is a very secure tool, and I think we will only use it through our best judgment and for the good of the city.
Well, I'm assuming you only use it for code enforcement.
Code enforcement and possibly through building services for checking on contractors.
So that is the intent of the use of this.
Yes.
How do we control such as finance? You have finance in here. Why are are those options that you can buy or use, or?
They're standard with the system. When it says finance, this is, well, like I mentioned earlier, going back and pursuing a lien on a property. That's where we would gain our financials back. If we order a cleanup on our property, we will put the lien on the property and go through this system to make sure we have every lien holder and everybody is responsible for that property to regain our money back.
I understand. I understand some of the issues associated with issuing liens, particularly if they are an out-of-state property owner.
Correct.
Very good. Council, do you have any questions for Mr. Thetford? If not, then it's to you. I could entertain a motion then,
Mayor Halsey, I'd like to make a motion.
please.
It's a long one. You gotta let me get both pages ready. I'd like to make a motion to approve entering into a service agreement with Thomas Reuters Clear, a nationally recognized investigative research platform utilized by government agencies to enhance data access, streamline enforcement activities, and improve debt recovery. This system will support the city's operations and code enforcement, building safety, development services, and finances.
Thank you. I'm going to paraphrase a little bit, but I'll get the essence of it. Motion is made to approve the Thomson Reuters Clear agreement. Is there a second?
Yes, Mayor, I'll second that.
There's a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you, council. 7B, this is continued from the July 14th, 2025 meeting. Discuss, consider, and act on a specific use permit for a temporary concrete batch plant located in the North Glen subdivision, Phase 3, to be located on a 39-acre tract in the Riley Games Survey Abstract 1268. Mr. Thetford.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As Mayor stated, this is a continuation from the last meeting. This is a SUP for a concrete batch plant in North Glen. We had discussions last time. I wanted to bring this back. I believe we do have people here to speak on that, the applicant. So if anybody has any questions for me, you can please entertain those. If not,
Mr. Thetford, I do have one, Mr. Mayor, if you don't mind. Is it true that the company started up and started operating their concrete plant before we gave them approval to? And you had to go out and shut them down?
that is correct, sir.
Wow, ballsy. Appreciate that.
I don't think it was out of miscommunication, but they were very cooperative on the shutdown. They shut down immediately.
Sir, there's no miscommunication in that. They were at the last meeting. It didn't get approved, and they operated their plant.
That was prior to that meeting.
Yeah, I would say this was slated for the council agenda that we could not get a quorum together. So I assume they thought that they had a permit, and they called me the next day, and I reiterated, we do not have a permit yet to shut it down.
Well, in the last meeting we had, that question was asked by an actual citizen who was complaining, and he actually brought up the fact that the plant was operating, and it was told the council that it was not operating. Is that correct from what I remember, council? Maybe I'm not recollecting things correctly, but that question was directly asked, which is more the infuriating part to me, especially being in construction. So I understand how they operate their backside before they set these massive plants up with the expense that go along with that. So just curious.
Very good. Well, we have the developer here. If you would please introduce yourself. And I know there were several questions explicitly came out of the previous meeting that the council was interested in. One is, how long will that batch plant operate, you're proposing? The other is, how many cement trucks would it take to replace that batch plant? And the other has to do with the TCEQ permit. And what is of concern is nearby, such as Ashmore Farms to the north of your development, any of the effluent coming out of that batch plant and any fallout. that may occur. So those are at least three that I recall, the major ones.
Mayor Halsey, one more. I also asked if it was going to be possible to relocate that plant to the southwest corner of the property, which would take any of the wind and issues that we were discussing with the citizens who were upset out of play. So that is also something I wanted to know about.
And it's to you, gentlemen. Again, introduce yourselves, please.
Yeah, I'm Shane Sheffield, over operations, Glenn Thurman.
Chad said one, contract administration, Lynn Thurman.
Randy McQuistion, the Cambridge Company's the developer. So just to clarify real quick, Councilman Watkins, the question was not, the operation that had taken place was significantly prior to the last council meeting. So that was 2 council meetings before that when the permit was supposed to be approved to begin with, and it was delayed. And that was a miscommunication, because I think, as I mentioned last time, it's not typical that they get denied at council. And so they literally started the next day, and then were asked to stop, and they stopped that same day. It was not with disregard or anything else, just so that y'all are aware.
Well, why don't we start off with, tell us about TCUQ and any particulate fallout that may come across, et cetera.
Yeah, so the TCQ stuff, so back in August of 2024, OSHA and everybody was concerned about silica, dust, and all that. So we had an independent lab come out, we wore monitors, our operation, they checked our materials and all this, and the results of it come unsignificant for any dust, any respirators, any use of silica and all that as the plant is running. And then during the plant, so operation-wise, as we're running in the summer, we're watering the rock, so that helps control the dust when it goes into the bins. And then when we start loading it, the cement comes in, the water comes in and controls the dust. And we're watering the rock and the materials, so we mix all that. Also, the plant has a baghouse that's on that sucks in some of the cement dust and collects it. So you'll see very little dust. You'll see some dust come out of it, but it evaporates within the 30 seconds of OSHA. And we try to maintain everything by watering around the plant sites as well. But I do have a report here showing that the results of silica was very low, dust control and everything. It's a 5-day test that everybody had to wear monitors, walking around it. So our ground man hooks up the cement trucks, he's outside all day, he's around the environment, and then it shows that any non-harmful stuff is coming from that, leaving the plant site.
Council, you got any questions regarding TCUQ?
May I ask a question?
Please.
So do they have to, I assume they have to run the plant in order to do the test?
Yes, this is during all operations. This is a full 5-day operation. Yeah.
Okay, so you did have it it was active for a little bit in order to do your test, is that right?
This was in August 24 is when we did the test.
A year ago?
Yeah, 24.
But so that wasn't for this batch plant?
No, but this is just some information that,
That's typical.
And it wasn't just on one plant, it was on multiple different locations, 3 locations that we did this on.
Okay. And so if this plant starts operating, will there be regular checks to make sure that it's staying within those parameters?
Yeah, we'll be on site, we'll have a water truck around there, we'll have sprinklers on the rock, we'll have a supervisor there at any time, yeah. So
Okay.
make sure all that's-
So the documents that you all filed with the TCEQ, is that just a rough estimate study that's been conducted in a general aspect, or is that a specific study done for this specific site for the parameters where you're setting this concrete plant at?
It wasn't for this specific site, no, it's just parameters of just.
Okay, so the document you're saying,
Operation of a plant site.
okay, so the study you're giving us is not for this site, it's just a random study that shows in your favor?
That shows what comes from the plant and then if any.
It's non-hazardous to
Yeah.
extent subdivision.
Yeah.
And that satisfies the TCEQ as far as your requirements with them from a safety standard?
And OSHA.
Yes.
Okay.
I had a question. On the original information we were given, it said it would take 1 week. So evidently I've been done to 2 months. So how long will
No,
it?
just 1 week.
Is 1
1
week?
week of actual batch
Operation.
plant operation.
The dust being in the air for 30 seconds for
1 week. So if you want to, so the plant would actually, when we get started back up, the plant would run for 3 days and it's gone. So it's actually 1 week of plant operation where it would have been there and gone.
Yes.
So you would have 1 week of plant operation, then tear down of the plant?
Yep, then we're out of there.
So you can concrete all those roads and everything in 1 week?
Oh, yeah, 3 days.
And it
3
says
days?
The time is 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. So this is everything
That's correct.
Now, as I understand, this is used for concrete for the roads only.
That's correct. And the reason why we bring these portable plants is for control. You know what I mean? It's we're able to manage the temperature of the concrete, we're able to handle everything. Bringing in ready-mix trucks, you're looking at 375 trucks on this project. And they get out there and they're just, you could try to herd them in the right direction, but they're like herding cats. They're just gonna take off. You know what I mean? They're gonna hit this street. And we keep everything on site. And then as we're watering and everything, and these trucks are leaving in and out of the premises, it's tracking dirt, material all up and down the subdivision. So that's the reason why we bring these plants in. Plus, it's a quicker product. These trucks are running out of hours within about 3 o'clock, because they start up at 5 o'clock, and they're out of hours by 3 o'clock. You know, the 15-hour parameter for 18-wheelers. So we can't get enough concrete from them to produce a job that, it would have took this job 3 weeks instead of 3 days, using ready-mix.
So you're saying it's approximately 375 trucks to replace this,
Of ready-mix trucks.
pardon?
Of ready-mix trucks.
Of ready-mix trucks, and that would be approximately 3 weeks.
It would have took, yeah, because we would have averaged about 300 yards a day.
When you're done with these roads, will this now be connected to Blue Mound?
Yes.
So are there going to be, I hope, barriers put up? Because cars are going to figure this out really fast and start going around the light at Blue Mound and 156.
Yes, and then if we had to, we could bolt down some type 3 barricades to keep them from moving in and out and people from moving.
You're going to have to do that.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you now.
Yeah.
You're going to have to do that because people will absolutely start using those roads the second they're available.
Yeah.
It will be a racetrack. And that's something we're going to have to address as council too, because I know there were changes put in Ashmore Farms because of the traffic. North Glen is incredibly concerned that they're going to have cut through traffic in their neighborhood as well.
Just one quick question. So in the backup data here, so you're planning the hours of operation still to remain 7 a.m. to 6 p.m.?
Yes, yes. And the plant, and then we'll have some guys that are a little sawing concrete, but they'll be out of there by then.
But the actual running of the plant, that's
Yes, 7 to 6.
the main concern. Okay.
I just have one last question in regards to, honestly, the whole holdup in your project was because a citizen was complaining. And if a citizen complains and he takes the time out of his day to come to this council meeting and speak to us about it, it obviously means something enough to him. However, at the last meeting, sir, I did see you speaking with him at the back of the room. Did you guys come to some kind of resolve? Because obviously he's not here tonight complaining about the SUP, knowing that he knew 100% it was coming on this agenda. So if he's considered and happy, that's a big consideration for me.
So we did not talk, we did talk after the meeting, like you mentioned. We did not talk after that. He was out of town the next week, and then we were working on putting together data for this presentation for this evening to get everything in our powers to be able to explain to you guys tonight. His concern had to do with, I think it was actually dust, because we haven't done anything out there thus far to actually create a problem. What he had told me was he was concerned about cement dust literally getting into
his pool and messing up his filter and the whole system and everything else.
Right,
Yes, sir.
Right. And so we literally just talked about that, and then we did not get a chance. He was gone that following week on vacation. And
Okay.
I'm assuming he's a coach or a teacher, so I'm assuming he started school this week. I assume. I have not heard back from him since then.
Okay.
So I'll make a note that that resident has not contacted the city and or the Public Works Department or engineering on any follow-up. Well, you've answered a number of questions. I think the last one is with regard to possible relocation of the plant. Is that still something you're interested in hearing? And is there a need?
It would be quite the lesson to learn, but no, gentlemen, I don't think that's something that y'all have to go through. I appreciate you showing up tonight, and that was the biggest disrespect was, showing up and assuming. And again, when a citizen comes to complain, if we don't take their consideration before anything else, then we're not doing our job as elected officials. So again, nothing against you guys as a company, but in regards to the meeting and starting the plan, that a lack of communication, again, I'm in the construction field. I deal with this in multiple states and different municipalities all over the place. So I understand the complexities that come with this, but I also understand that communication is everything. And my team does not execute anything without my go-ahead, especially when it comes to setting up a plant that we don't have an SUP for. That's an expense that comes to it, and there's going to be something else going on with that. That was a calculated risk to set it up before the SUP approval in its own right. So, I mean, I appreciate your balls on that, so thank you for that.
Very good. Council, do you have any other questions for the developer?
If this gets approved, will you start tomorrow or later this week? What's your schedule look like?
So if it starts tomorrow, we're probably about 3 days away from getting started. We need to do we got some other stuff
We have
we need to do.
crews on other projects, and
Yeah.
once they finish where they're at, most likely we'll move over here and finish.
Yeah.
So with the rainfall and it may be a week, 2 weeks, just keep your plan.
Yeah.
That.
But I mean, as far as material stuff coming there, everything's on site, so there ain't gonna be much traffic or anything going through there, just us on site.
Any other questions?
Mayor Hales, I'd like to make a motion.
Please.
I'd like to make a motion to approve an SUP for temporary concrete bench plant located in the North Glen subdivision, Phase 3, to be located on a 39-acre tract in the Riley James Survey, Abstract 1268.
Thank you. Motion's been made to approve the specific use permit for a temporary concrete batch plant located in the North Glen subdivision, Phase 3, on the 39-acre tract in the Riley James Survey, Abstract 1268. Is there a second?
And let me just, can I add before we second that the P&Z, they added a condition that the concrete not be used for any off-site use. And so if you'd like to amend your motion to include that or not, it's up to you.
Yes, sir, I would like to amend it. Do I need to re-say the whole thing
Please,
again?
well, no, just to amend to include that.
Amend to please include the P&Z's recommendation of no concrete used outside the facilities and location.
All right, I'll restate the motion, and motion is made to approve the specific use permit for a temporary concrete batch plant located in the North Glen subdivision, Phase 3, to be located on a 39-acre tract in the Riley James Survey, Abstract 1268, and that the concrete not be used for any off-site work. Is there a second?
Mr. Hurley, I second that.
There is a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you, council. 7C, continued from July 14, 2025 meeting. Discuss, consider, and act on a specific use permit for a temporary concrete batch plant located in the Sweetgrass subdivision, Phase 2, approximately 300 feet north of the intersection of Greenbrier Road and Cedarwood Court. Mr. Thetford.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Same as last item, this item was continued from the last meeting to gain more information and have the applicant here. They are here. One thing that did not get placed into the packet was the revised TCEQ permit. I do have that here. It actually says 14 days as opposed to 1 week of operation time, and I'll hand that over to. Anybody has any questions for me? If not, I will allow the applicant to speak.
Please. Would the applicant please approach and identify yourself?
Chad San Juan, Glen Thurman Incorporated.
Shane Sheffield, Glen Thurman Operation.
Great. Essentially, we had the same questions.
Yep.
TCEQ, how many trucks to replace, and how long will those trucks run, and any possibility with relocation, I believe there was. All right, then. If you would go ahead and you've got an updated TCEQ, and then also your how long you would operate this plant.
So we updated the TCEQ permit for 14 days. There's some rehabilitation work on the southern side of Sweetgrass, and we don't know what that's going to consist of, so we extended it 5 days to cover any extra duration.
So the operation of the plant would be for 5 days?
So the north side of the project, so we're gonna, 2 weeks operation-wise.
Yes.
It's just when we do the demo and the rehab on the south side, we don't know if there's gonna be some grade work that might need to be done. We might have to dig down, bring some grade in or some base before we pour the concrete, so we add an additional 5 days. Now,
Understood.
if it's just a complete remove and replace, yeah, 2 weeks.
Yes.
But so not knowing what we're gonna run into yet, if there's any utility issues or anything like that, it could prolong it by 5 days.
Very good. How many trucks would it take to replace this plant and this work?
186 ready-mix trucks.
And how long would those trucks run?
Again, we're looking at probably 12 to 14 days. Because of the nature of this work.
The other ask was about any possibility or relocation.
That one, I mean,
I don't recall that on Sweetgrass.
This one, there was a concern from the neighbor to the east, that would be Caraway, so how far would we travel?
cause that one, I have houses that are 600-700 feet or so. So I'm not sure which house that would be, because we're right against. The closest house to this one would be 834 feet.
Would be across Sweetgrass Boulevard?
Yeah. So that's why we kind of put it in that corner, all them trees and everything, they can barely even see it if we were to erect it right there. Yeah.
Council, any, I know you're probably thinking about it, but any questions for the developer?
I think on North Glen, you were just putting in roadways. On this one, I believe you're putting in roadways and sidewalks, right?
No, just roadways.
Oh, just road, okay.
The reason this one is different, just because of the rehab, the remove and replace on the south side of the project. So, still adjacent to the project, but it's south of that mini center.
Okay.
If it was just the subdivision itself, it would be the same result that we would be in and out.
All right, council, any other questions?
I just wanted to.
Excuse me, wait a minute. Do we have a, not for this item, excuse me.
I can help you move forward.
If you would like, would you like to speak?
Yes, I would like to speak.
Apparently so. Please state your name.
Laura Schlotteroff, 1195 Wilson Way. I live in the Caraway subdivision. I was the resident that brought up a concern. All I ask is that you let me know when this construction would take, or this batch plant were to start, and I will tell my father not to come visit.
Do you have a time frame or an estimate when you would?
Around, so we get over there and start around, it's probably about a month before it starts paving and operation.
The same batch plant from Northland will be relocated to Sweetgrass.
Ah, I see. Okay. If you would notify the city secretary, please, then we can put a message out on our website. Would that be sufficient?
Thank you very much.
Good. All right, council, then it's to you. If you have no more questions or any discussion, I would entertain a motion, please.
I'll make the motion that we accept the batch plant as described.
And approve the specific use permit.
Yes.
Motion
The
is
SUP.
made to approve the specific use permit for a temporary concrete batch plant located on the Sweetgrass subdivision, Phase 2, approximately 300 feet north of the intersection of Greenbrier Road and Cedarwood Court, and I assume the same P&Z stipulation that
Yes.
no concrete is produced or used outside of this project. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
There is a second. Any further discussion? There is none. All in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you, council. Thank you, sir. 7D, discuss, consider, and act to appoint an alternate board member to serve as the regular member on the library board. And Ms. White. So we have Miss Elizabeth Arnett. She currently holds Library Board Place 8, Alternate 1, and requests to be appointed to Library Board Place 6 as a full member. Council, do you have any questions on this? If not, may I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve, to appoint alternate board member Elizabeth Arnett from place 8, alternate 1 to place 6.
Motion is made to appoint Elizabeth Arnett from Library Board Place 8, Alternate 1, to Library Board Place 6. Any further discussion? Allows your motion. Is there a second?
Mayor, I'll second that.
There is a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you, council. 7E, discuss, consider, and act to appoint an applicant to serve as a member on the Planning and Zoning Commission. You bring that up. I believe we have 2 applicants, do we not? Yes, Mr. Page and Mr. Bolton. And say that again. You said 1 second.
We have 1 vacancy, and it's place 6, alternate 1.
Place 6, alternate 1. I believe Mr. Page has in his application is a preference and then a secondary, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. His first choice is Planning and Zoning, second is Economic Development Corporation B, and Mr. Bolton is Planning and Zoning only. Council, are there any questions? Are the applicants here? The applicants are not here. I did speak to Mr. Page. I did not have the opportunity to speak to Mr. Bolton. Mr. Page did express to me that his strong preference was Planning and Zoning, but both applicants are requesting Planning and Zoning. But
You said Mr. Page had a second option for having place 8.
yes. All right, council, do you have a proposal here?
Is any one of the 2 candidates more qualified than the other? Is there any information or data we have on either one of them?
They have their application that describes their experience. Would you pull that up?
Keep scrolling.
Mayor, did we get any input from the P&Z group themselves?
No.
Greg Kadesh or anybody?
No, this has not gone to P&Z.
Mr. Watkins, Mr. Page says he's a large construction contracting senior manager. And then the other one is a engineer,
If you would
telecommunications engineer.
pull up Mr. Bolton.
Go back to the other.
So one would seem more fit than the other to be in a planning and zoning requirements considering his professional capacity.
When I spoke with Mr. Page, that was also the conclusion I came to with his experience. He would be a good add to planning and zoning because they address much of that type of stuff in the work.
Yeah, I agree.
If anybody would like to make a motion. When you're ready.
Mayor Holsey, I'll make a motion. I'd like to appoint Jonathan Page, an applicant to serve as a member on the Planning and Zoning Commission, Place 6, Alternate 1.
Motion is made to appoint Mr. Jonathan Page to the Planning and Zoning Place 6, Alternate 1 position. Is there a second?
Yes, Mayor, I'll second that.
There is a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you, council. 7F, discuss, consider, and act regarding the appointment, employment, reevaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of Haslett Community and Economic Development Corporation Board Member, Place 6. I do have a statement I wanted to read about that. This is a surprising item. This is called by Mayor Pro Tem Morrow. This is a surprising item called for by Mayor Pro Tem Morrow. There's been no mention of dissatisfaction, lack of performance, or any wrongdoing from Mayor Pro Tem Morrow, the HCEDC board members, nor the HCEDC board president, Ms. Kitty Words, reported to the mayor. HCDC board member place 6 is held by Mr. Frank Gatto. Mr. Gatto is one of the most professional individuals I know. His integrity is beyond reproach. Professionally, Mr. Gatto is an assistant U.S. attorney for the United States Attorney's Office for the Northern District of Texas, and also Mr. Gatto is a Commander 05 in the United States Navy Reserves. And I ask, what charge, claim, or complaint is brought against Mr. Gatto?
Is my mic working now? Yes, thank you. Okay, thank you. I also had a little statement. I do not bring this agenda item lightly, but after a request was made, I followed it up with careful consideration, and I believe it is in the best interest that we consider removal of Frank Gatto, current Type B member place 6. And I have this recommendation based on 3 concerns. The first is excessive absences. From July 2024 to July 2025, Mr. Gatto missed 6 meetings out of the last 11. Attendance impacts the board's ability to conduct business effectively and consistently. The second reason is inappropriate language and behavior. At the June 4th meeting, Mr. Gatto used profanity and exhibited improper behavior, which I personally witnessed online. This does not reflect the standards of professionalism we expect from those that are serving in this capacity. And the third is a possible executive session misconduct. I was informed by members. Mr. Gatto pulled others aside after an executive session and tried to influence them on how to vote. The Texas Open Meetings Act exists for a reason. It's to ensure transparency, accountability, and public trust in government. So while I do recognize Mr. Gatto's past contributions, I feel all boards must operate with trust moving forward.
I do have the attendance records of all board members. Yes, he has, but I do understand that much of that has been because of his call of duty, both professionally as a U.S. attorney, as well as being a Navy reservist in required training activities. The others regard, I haven't got any direct knowledge. Someone referred this to you. Was it from an HCED board member?
Yes, and according to their bylaws, directors are removable by the city council at will. But yes, it was referred to me by members.
But more than one? Was it by the board president?
The board president sent me an email, but I heard from other members about the executive session issue.
Understood. Mr. Gatto, would you like to address these complaints?
I'd be happy to, and I appreciate the opportunity for me to talk. First, I just want to tell you who I am, because I've never met any one of you on this council. So I don't know any of you, and therefore I know none of you know who I am. And the reason why that's important is if I was in your shoes before I'm called to vote, first thing I want to know is who is this guy, Frank Gatto? I think that's a fair question. So I live in North Glen with my wife and 2 kids. We moved in there in October of 2019. Built our new home there and moved in. I should correct that. My wife and my 2 kids actually moved into our new home in October of 2019. I deployed to Afghanistan in September of 2019. I got to move into my new home a year later in September of 2020. My daughter goes to Texas A&M. I'm a proud Aggie dad. My son is a 7th grader here at Worthington. So we are fully integrated into this city of Hazlet since 2019. I was asked by a former council member, the mayor, and Ms. Patricia, who's also on the board, a couple of years ago, to volunteer my time to serve on here. Now I say that because in your agenda it says employment. Take objection to that. I don't get paid by you guys to do this. I volunteer my time to do this. So this is not a question of me being employed, and I want the people of Hazlet to know that I'm not getting compensated for this, except for maybe the pizza that comes to these meetings. I don't know where the money comes from that, but I know I didn't pay for it, so occasionally there's pizza. So that's who I am. I'm a U.S. attorney, federal prosecutor. I do the Northern District of Texas. I work in downtown Fort Worth. That's where my office is. Those of you who know, driving 35W can be a beatdown pretty much every day. So yes, there are some meetings I have missed because I just cannot leave my office by around 4:30 to make sure I make it here all the time. So sometimes it's hard for me. And sometimes it conflicts when I have to go on reserve duty, either my 2 weeks, usually it would be my 2-week duty if it just happens to land on there. There are other members of the board who have missed as well, and so forth, but we've always had a quorum. The board has never been able to not meet and take care of business. Now, on the question of profanity, that's the first I'm hearing of it. I don't even know what profane word I'm accused of saying in that circumstance. I've never been profane to anybody. In fact, been nothing but very respectful. I have sat back and listened to the board members. I've listened quietly, patiently, never interrupted them, and let them fully talk until it was done. And I know you can attest to that. So I've always been respectful. I've always listened to their opinions very carefully. And then I spoke when they finished and didn't interrupt. So I have no idea where this allegation is coming from. Now, what I suspect this is about with this executive privilege is not that I tried to influence anybody. I mean, I'm on the board. I'm a member. We're debating. We're trying to discuss how to vote. I'm going to give my opinion. This is how I'm going to vote. This is how I think you should vote. And I listen to theirs. Always listen to theirs on how they wanted me to vote. I will tell you that I voted with the president every single time except for one issue. One issue, and that's what this is about. Just so you know, it's about this piece of land, about 1/3 of an acre, off of Main Street that sits adjacent to the church, the oldest church in Hazlet. And it sits adjacent to this other lovely young woman named Miss Reynolds, her property. And it's 3 questions. What do we do with this piece of property? Do we sell it? If we do sell it, who do we sell it to and for how much? Or do we deed it over back to you guys, the city, and make it for it to be a park? And there's been a lot of disagreement on what to do. And our president has been very, very passionate that it does not go to this church, that it does not get sold, that it goes to the city for a park. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I respect her passion. What the executive session violation that I suspect really is that in that executive session, she accused the mayor, the pastor, and our lawyer of corruptly colluding and conspiring to get this property to the church for less than its market value. Now, I will tell you that as somebody who served in the Navy, integrity is everything. I questioned her on it. I said, do you have proof? Because as soon as she said the lawyer, I was like, there's no way. That lawyer is not risking his livelihood and his license over something like this. So I knew that was not true. So I said, what's your proof? And she gave me an email. She gave me an email string, completely not proving that allegation at all. So I, upset with this allegation, decided, after contemplating, that the mayor needed to know this was made against him. And she's upset that I told the mayor. Let me tell you something, each and every one of you. If anybody on that board had made an allegation against any of you like that, I would have found a way to contact you, and I would have told you to, because that's not right. It's about what's right, and that wasn't right. It was wrong, and I stand by that decision. I'll take accountability, and I'm telling you this because if you want to vote me off, fine. I work at your pleasure. You don't even have to have a ground to throw me off. It's at will. But understand that the 2 years I've been on this board, my view has always been, I work for you, the city council. I don't work for the mayor. I work for you. You guys, the city council, not you particularly on the board, it was before you, but you guys created the Type B corporation. You're the ones who appoint the officers on it. You're the ones who can remove the officers. So I work for you. I'm going to listen to the mayor, though. He is elected by the people. I respect that vote, and I respect the position that he occupies. So when the mayor wants to come and talk to me and our board about how we should do something like with this land, I am going to listen to him because I owe it to him and the people of Hazlet, who I work for via you all. If any of you came to me, and none of you have in the 2 years I've been there, and said, Mr. Gatto, this is how I'd like you to vote on this, or this is how I think it should go, I would listen to you the same way I listen to the mayor, exactly the same. However, if the council, speaking as the council, okay, say distinguish, if an individual council member came and talked to me, I'm going to listen to you like the mayor, but if the council, speaking as the council, said, Mr. Gatto, we want this land to go to the city as a park, roger that. That's it. Because I work for you. Council has never done anything like that. In my 2 years here, I've never gotten any strategic guidance from the council directed to us saying, this is what we want you to do, or any particular thing. If I've gotten it, I'm going to follow it because I work for you. So that's how I viewed my job for these 2 years. Outside of that direction, I sat back and listened to the people of Hazlet when they came to our meetings. I listened to the mayor. I listened to all our members. And then I tried to make a decision on what I thought my vote, my one vote, for my decision, and my opinion to them on what I thought was the best for this city of Hazlet and its citizens. So that's who I am. That's how I conduct myself on this board. If I stay, that's how I'll continue to volunteer myself on the board. If you said thank you, but no thank you, fine. I'm not going to take it personally. I appreciate the privilege that I did for the 2 years to be able to serve the people of the city of Hazlet. I've spent my almost entire adult career in public service, serving my country, serving the citizens of the Northern District of Texas, and serving here. So thank you for listening to me.
Council, with regard to the absences claim, I have a list of the absences for a year here, the current year, and Mr. Gatto hasn't got any more than others. So I don't know, certainly it can't be based on that.
I'm sorry, you said my numbers were incorrect, sir?
I'm saying there are others that, you know, he's had 3 absences.
I just did the
Since
1 year.
over a year's time. We have another member who's had 3 absences over that same year time. We have another member that's had 3 absences over that same year time.
He had 6, sir, but I did go back and look, 'cause I want to make sure that
Well, I got it.
I didn't
It's right
mention
here.
anything about voting or,
Nonetheless,
it's 6 out of 11.
do you have any questions for Mr. Gatto, council? Do
Mr.
any of
Mayor,
you-
I have a couple things that I would just like some clarification on, just for my own. Yes, you can answer, sir. That'd be great. Mr. Gatto, in regards to, again, thank you for your service to the community, because, as yourself is unpaid, us as council are also unpaid. So this is a very selfless job that we tend to do. And, the things that I tend to take things at face value, and you as an attorney, I'm assuming do things as well. I deal with attorneys a lot, and attorneys are very good at the black and white, but you guys are very bad at the gray. And the gray is where the gray area. The not the black and white, the not the documentation, the people skills, the ability to go around to where you are telling us of what you've done and where you've gone and your concerns for things you've heard in executive. But my question to you, sir, is you explicitly said that council has the right to govern and oversee the EDC board. So if you had concern for something in the executive, why would you go to the mayor, who is considered a citizen in the regard to the EDC board, considering it is a separate corporation to the city, and it only answers to the council, sir, not the mayor. So if you had a concern for problems with that board, why would you go to the mayor instead of to the council, who has the authority to make anything happen? And in regards to us knowing you as a person, sir, I truly appreciate that, and spoken very well by you from that aspect of it. But I run into the question in my head where it comes to where you as a U.S. attorney, do you necessarily need to know the defendant to make a valid judgment about a defendant that you're overseeing and prosecuting?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. I absolutely try to know as much about a defendant I prosecute so I can decide to what degree.
Materialistic,
mitigation-
not personally.
No, personally too.
To an extent, I mean, to what, as much as their attorneys will let you speak to them, there's going to be a limitation on how much you can actually address a defendant as a U.S. attorney if they have a decent attorney worth their stripes. So from that standpoint, you're only going to be able to go off of subjective information to make your decision on your calculated estimate on whether they're guilty or innocent. So in that same aspect in respect to us on this council, when we get brought information by other board members beyond just the president, sir, that gives us information that shreds more than a shadow of a doubt of impropriety, whether it be intended or not, then we as this council and the governing body for the board, which draws public funding from tax revenue, which is why they answer to us as the oversight body for the EDC board type A and B, sir. So from our standpoint, we are only able to go off of the actual data and information that we're given. So from that standpoint, getting to know you as a person is an irrelevant factor from that standpoint, to where we can't make a actual decision based on you and your position within us. But what is hard for me to get past in my own right is the impropriety or the appearance of impropriety. If there's an appearance of impropriety, you as an executive director overseeing a board that has a multi-million-dollar budget and oversees assets that the city controls, if there is an appearance of impropriety, of leaking executive information, or there is a lack of faith and trust from other board members, which obviously in this instance there were, sir, it's hard for us to sit here as the governing body and the elected oversight of this city, who has to sit here and make the decision of what is right and wrong. To
I
go
hear-
back.
Mr.
Sir, I'm not done.
Watkins.
I'm not done.
Mr.
When I'm done
Mr. Watkins.
speaking, you can speak, sir. I'm not done. Did you hear me stop talking? Did you hear me stop talking?
Mr. Watkins,
I'm not done.
this is the chair. What I'm asking you to
You're being
do-
disrespectful.
I am not.
You're interrupting me.
I am asking.
I'm
I'm
not
being
done
the
with my
chair
time,
of this
sir.
meeting.
I
I'm
reclaim my
asking
time.
you to make your point.
I am making my point, sir. Just because I'm not making it as fast as you would like is not your discretion.
Well,
you are the oversight body of this oversight. I mean, you are the person of oversight for this body, so I don't need to answer to you. I'm asking
do.
this gentleman a question
And that,
in regards to an
as far
agenda
as
item
the
that has
chair-
nothing to do with you, sir. So please be quiet and let me finish my statement to this question.
You are being disrespectful.
Why? Because you interrupted me, and I'm not going to sit here and take
No,
your
I
disrespect.
am facilitating this meeting. That is the chair's
You're
job.
facilitating an interruption of my speech and addressing to Mr. Gatto. So did you hear me finish my statement to him? Because I don't care if you thought I was taking time too long or not, sir. That's not your discretion. Your discretion is to let me finish
the
as an elected body.
scarce direction.
No, it's not.
It is.
In your mindset, sir. And that's why there's another agenda item on this board tonight. So let's keep
So
going.
please make your point.
Mr. Gatto, the appearance of impropriety is beyond reproach for myself and some things that I've heard. Sir, I have no direct problem with you. I appreciate your public service in your personal life. So thank you from that aspect of it. And I'm not coming at you from anything other than nothing malicious, nothing personal, sir. I'm going off of being a leader and being brought information from a multitude of people within the board that you sit on, sir. So, you know, from that aspect, you have to understand the gravity of the multiplicity of how many people came to us. So in that aspect, is there anything else that you would have to say to that?
Yes, I appreciate being able to respond. First, as a federal prosecutor, since you talked about that, one of the things I do is I show all my cards to the defendant. There are no surprises. The indictment is the accusation. You're a drug trafficker. That's not the proof. I give them all my evidence. Here's what I have. In North Korea, when you're charged with a crime, it's crimes against the state. What did I do? You committed crimes against the state. What did I do? Crimes against the state. Your accusation is appearance of impropriety. I can't defend against that because I don't know what this evidence is that you claim you have that I did impropriety. Impropriety is an accusation. It's not proof. He's not giving you one word of evidence as to what this supposed accusation of impropriety is. Now, I can tell you in my nearly 27 years in the Navy working, I know what the gray area is, more than just black and white. I live in the gray area when you have a general saying, "Can I strike this target?" You have no idea what gray means until you're in those shoes. So I live and breathe the gray area. I understand right from wrong, and I bring that to every case I prosecute of every defendant. Because I want to go to bed at night knowing, one, I've never convicted an innocent man, and number two, I want to go to bed knowing that justice was served. That when mercy was appropriate, that defendant got it, and when it was not appropriate, the defendant didn't get it. At least on my persuasion to the judge. I bring those same skill sets here. Telling me that I've done an impropriety or I've been the appearance of impropriety is a mere accusation. So I can't defend other than to say I haven't done anything impropriety with the taxpayers' money. I've been above board. All I got was some free pizza.
Can I follow up with one question then? My third thing was the possible executive session misconduct, but let me just make sure this is correct. You did tell us that you did go to a citizen and reveal what was said in executive session, correct?
Incorrect. I did not go to a citizen, and I disagree with you both on that. He is the mayor.
He is considered a citizen legally. As a
Only
lawyer,
because
you should
of-
understand
yeah,
the
only
difference
because
in
of
that.
corporation.
Both of you are in error. The mayor is the chief executive officer and having oversight on all boards.
Not an EDC board,
I don't
sir.
think the
Check the
corporation-
TML and see what they say
I
about that.
do. If there is
Page.
impropriety in those boards, I am bound to report.
So you're allowed an executive session?
I am bound to
Are you allowed an
report.
executive session?
No, he's not.
No,
Mr.
you're not,
Watkins.
sir. So you are a citizen like anybody else.
It-
You are not allowed an
And
executive
you're a
session.
citizen like anybody else.
Yeah, good answer. And I'm not trying to go in the board meetings, am I? Like you. I
Mr.
do it in public
Watkins.
where it should be.
Mr. Watkins.
Excuse me, Mr.
I don't need to
Page.
hide behind a board, sir. I'll speak freely
I'm
when
not,
I need to.
I'm not.
Mr. Watkins, can I answer this though on that too? Regardless of our disagreement, I don't regard the mayor in that aspect as a citizen. He's the mayor, he's elected by the people, and I think that's a very important thing to respect. Hold on, let me.
Is he the oversight of the board?
No.
Is
you
he,
are.
okay, no, answer
But I
this.
still-
Then point blank. He is not the oversight, so
Here's
why
the
are you going to
second
him?
point, sir. Here's the second point. The
It's a
accusation
mute
was
point.
against him, so that's why I told him. It was against him. I'm not going to go to somebody else.
So you violated
and he
the
brought it
executive
No.
oath to let a citizen know of something about him that you
No.
heard in executive.
You know
So
why?
thank you for telling on yourself in open public, sir.
I
Thank
get
you.
it, but
You made our
that's not a
decision
violation
simple
of
right there.
Executive session, the lawyer will tell you, because that's an
Please.
inappropriate conversation in executive session. I read the law in executive session. Executive session doesn't mean you can use it to make false accusations against you.
Like to-
That's
Yeah,
not what's
we gonna
written
turn on
in the
your mic?
statute for executive session. So that's not covered by what's allowed in executive session. So I did not violate executive session by telling him that a false accusation was levied against him, against the lawyer, and against the pastor.
Is he a member of the board?
No.
Then he violated executive session. As an attorney, sir, you should know that.
Yeah.
He's a private
I
citizen.
mean, you guys have heard my defense of that. So I don't regard him as a private citizen. He's the mayor. I give that respect, and so forth. I already told you guys too, though, that when it comes between the mayor and the city council, if the mayor said to me, I want you to sell the property, and if the city council, as the council said, no, we want it as a church, you win because I work for you. That's how I would view it. But I always listen to him as his point of view, especially in the absence of hearing from you all, because I've got to have information. And as a chief executive officer, he brings a lot. And Mr. Watkins, look, I know you hate the mayor. I get it. I get it. It's not about
Sir,
that.
now you're making accusations. I don't hate the mayor. I just call BS when I see BS.
I know you don't like the mayor. I get it.
I call BS when I see BS. If I stop seeing BS, I stop calling BS. It's a very simple fact, sir. We're here to run a city. We're not here to play Sims, and hopefully we can not have to start game over. We have people's real lives, real money, real logistics, real everything of a city that we are sadly behind on, sir. And if you knew the true details of how behind the ball this city is, you wouldn't be speaking so freely this way. So until you know the full logistics of everything, sir, I would be careful in what you say, because you don't know the true depth of where the city has gone wrong. So now we, as this council, are going to fix that, sir.
Excuse me, Mr. Page?
Excuse me, Mr. Page.
Okay.
Did you,
Okay, so I think, did you have a specific question for me?
Yes. Can you let the council know, does the mayor have oversight over HD EDC Type B board?
So the mayor's role is limited. There is not a direct oversight role for the mayor. The EDC is a separate corporation.
Yes.
However, per the bylaws, per state law, the EDC is controlled by the city council. And traditionally, the mayor and the council have both been invited into executive session. The full council also has oversight authority to have full review of books and records and all other documents pertaining to the EDC. And so that, I understand he is not a member of the board.
So what you're saying is,
Thank you.
him being in there is not a violation of executive privilege? Him
The
being
board
told-
has the
let me
authority.
ask this. Him being told information from a board member, as Mr. Gatto did, is that not a violation of executive privilege?
It would depend on the circumstances.
This is a very specific circumstance, sir. You see all the factors. Is this or not?
I have not had a chance to review it, so I can't give you a determination at this point in time.
The gentleman who's on a board in an executive session told the mayor information that was discussed in that executive session, sir. That's enough parameters for you to make an educated guess.
Mr.
Did
Page,
he
I-
violate executive privilege in telling the mayor, a citizen, non-board member, about what was discussed under executive privilege, sir? Be very careful, Mr. Page, on your answer, please.
Mr. Page, again, and Mr. Goddard, why don't you repeat what you said?
Why don't you let
that
Mr.
brought-
Page answer?
That you brought to me.
My question
Tell
wasn't
that-
Mr. Gatto, it was to Mr. Page.
Mr. Watkins.
Yep, you keep banging it.
You're
Keep on
being-
banging.
Yeah, and you are being disruptive.
Good.
You don't dominate anything here.
Not trying to.
No one, yet you are.
No, not when you
So,
interrupt me.
Mr. Gatto,
And you can let the
please
attorney
read-
speak for himself, sir. You're not an attorney. You're not the city attorney. I'm asking the city attorney a direct
Ma-
question. I don't need you to mansplain the city attorney's words. to me,
Mr.
sir.
Watkins, Mr. Watkins, I suggest you refrain. You offer up some of the professionalism that you claim you have.
Mr. Mayor.
So, Mr. Gatto, excuse me, Mr. Gatto, please repeat what you brought to me, to Mr. Page. Maybe Mr. Page didn't hear it all.
That you heard in executive session.
What I heard.
Make sure that detail's there too, sir.
What I heard in executive session, never denied that. Never denied that. What I heard in executive session was our president make the accusation that the mayor, with you and with the pastor, were working together probably to get this property sold to the church as a backdoor deal for less than what the fair market value is. Now, it's my opinion that that accusation is not covered by what is permitted under that statute, which lists very specifically what is permitted to be discussed in executive session, that is a permissible thing to do in executive session, that it is covered by executive session, that you can go into executive session and use it to make false accusations against people. Sorry, it's not covered in any of those statutes that I read under Chapter 551 of the Texas Municipal Code. It's not covered. It's not in any of those. So I proceeded to tell the mayor, because he was the one that was accused. I didn't tell you, I'm sorry, I probably should have let you know that too. And I figured the mayor would take care of it with the pastor. That's what I did.
Okay, so I'm going to give my answer. And so as I have said on previous occasions, when the same question has been asked of me, whether or not an executive session violation has occurred is dependent on lots of different factors, of which that I'm not privy to all of that. I am not privy to all the information. In addition, as the attorney, both for the HCEDC board and for the city council, I am not able to investigate that. That would be something that would have to be done by an outside counsel. And so if you believe that there is an ethics violation from the mayor or from this board member, that would be something that you all could conduct an investigation on. But that is not for me to make a final determination about as to whether an ethics violation occurred. That is ultimately up to the council, if it's a member of this governing body or of the board. My role as the city attorney is to interpret the ethics policy. It is not to make a final determination as to whether such a violation has occurred.
Thank you.
Mayor Halsey, I did have one other question, Mr. Page. According to the bylaws, I don't see the mayor's name mentioned at all. In fact, it says, Section 304, the president shall be the chief executive officer of the corporation. And so I believe that they're the CEO of Type B. And then I also wanted to respond to Mr. Gatto. In our council relations policy, we're actually, it is kind of gray. We're supposed to limit contact with board and commission members to questions of clarification. We're not supposed to show up and say, we want you to vote for this, or we want you to please pass this, because we have to be respectful of diverse opinions. And we have, like I said, a long page of not showing up and trying to intimidate or persuade boards and commissions.
So may I quickly respond to that? I would never take your presence as intimidating, nor yours. You're a pretty big guy. You hold the door open for me.
I'm a teddy bear, sir, I promise.
I would welcome even you trying to persuade me. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I really don't. I don't know where that came from, but I read the statute for HCED Type B, and I don't see anything in there that would say that this council, an individual council member couldn't come, an individual council member couldn't call me, or an individual councilman couldn't show up to our meetings, or that the council itself couldn't put on the agenda and ask Type B to show up and have a public discussion about the council itself, what it would want to give us guidance.
We can, but it is very clearly outlined what we can and can't do.
I think you can, maybe Mr. Page will correct me, but I think you can give me your opinion just like the mayor does. I don't see why you couldn't. And there's nothing in the statute.
I'm going to read it that says, it is inappropriate for a council member to contact a board or commission member to lobby on behalf of an individual business or developer. They can contact them to clarify position taken by the board, and there's a lot. So it's just, when we did have a city administrator, that we were very well versed on what we could and couldn't do, and that was one of the things was we could show up to meetings that's open to the public, but as a citizen, not as a council member.
That's different.
Let me,
I mean, this is just our
let me
city of
interject
Hazlet council
something
relations
here,
policy.
if I may.
But wait,
Yes, sir.
real quick, that's
Is-
different. You're saying lobby on behalf of a business. What I'm saying is if you wanted to come to me and say, I think you should deed the property over as a park, or I think you should sell it, that's not lobbying on behalf of me. That's something for the city, and that's a city decision that you guys are going to make as well and be a part of. I think you can give me your opinion on that. If you're talking about lobbying on behalf of Joe's Pizza over there, which is New York guy, great pizza, by the way. Yeah, I could see that being inappropriate, and that would look like maybe Joe and something that looked bad. But on a question like this, of course you can. And when you're talking about, look, the board is going to decide about what to spend money on as far as parks or different other things in here, you guys can give us strategic guidance on where you want us to start looking. We're your corporation, so we're your bubble up ideas. But the bubble up ideas come from, in the military, we say, the commander's intent. The admiral, the flag officer, gives us his intent, which is a big strategic decision, so that we have guidance to go, okay, this is what you guys want. This is where you want us to go. I think you guys can give that to us and should give it to all the boards. Really should think about that. And Mr. Page will correct me. He's the lawyer on it. I will concede to him. I don't practice in the area of municipal law. I practice in the area of federal criminal law and so forth. But that's my opinion.
Yeah, and let me.
I wanted to interject on something, is that the mayor, the chief executive officer, had attended HCEDC meetings in the past and also attended executive session. But when I was asked not to attend, I didn't. I did not force myself into any executive session. I was there as the chief executive officer of this city, giving my opinion as to why or what to do with this property. Not in favor of one person or another, but why it would be an economic advantage to the city if they were to sell it.
I do want you to know that the mayor never asked me to sell the property to the church. Never did that. I never saw him do that to any other members of the board. His opinion was we should sell it and sell it for fair market value, and he had the lawyer give us the state attorney general's opinion on what the definition of fair market value is. And he was opposed to it being deeded over to the city for purposes of a park. And he had the lawyer give us a presentation on the legal ramifications of doing that. That is all the mayor ever did. I don't think he cares who we sell it to. Well, if a vape shop wanted to buy it, maybe he'd care about that, and I would too. But outside of that, I don't think he cares. So he's never done that. I want to make that clear. His position has been, I think you should sell it.
Mr. Mayor.
So that's.
May I ask, I'm new to a lot of this, so I'm kind of coming in secondhand, but how did the item come up on the agenda for the EDC board that was directed for the vice president and not for the president to take that issue on, that was on the agenda?
I don't, is it for the vice president?
Yes, sir.
Well, I don't understand. I got this agenda right here?
No, sir. The last EDC agenda.
Right.
At their last EDC board meeting. I watched it online. And the line item said for the vice president to preside over that line item.
How did that get on the agenda?
Yes, sir.
It was requested by a board member, that agenda item was.
Did she have any help?
Did she have help?
I think she might have, sir. Did she have any direction from anybody within the city and in consultation or any kind of consult on this agenda item that she decided to usurp the entire board and give herself power over everybody else, being the vice president, because that's normal? Did she have any help, sir?
That is the prerogative of any board member.
Right, so did she reach out to you for consultation on
She
this
did
agenda
call
item?
me.
Oh, so you helped
But
her
I
write
did-
it.
But,
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
I want to bring this back This has drifted. This agenda item is to discuss and act regarding the appointment, evaluation.
Don't worry, sir. That'll be on the next agenda.
Reassignment
You can go ahead and
of
stop talking
duties.
about it.
Mr. Watkins? Refrain. Discipline or dismissal of AC Hazlet Community and Economic Development Corporation Board Member, Place 6. We will, yes, ma'am. Did you, is there a,
I'll just say this one final word and I'm done. I just wanted to say, in defense of me, I served with the goal of doing what is best for the city of Hazlet. I'm okay if you guys decide it's time for me to go. I won't take it personally, and you don't have to have a reason, because you don't have to have a reason to dismiss any of us. We're at will, and I've always understood that. It's the same military commander's prerogative, so it's the council's prerogative. I just want it to be clear on the record that I have never done anything inappropriate. There is no impropriety. My integrity is everything, and I served and I made decisions based on all the information that I could get, and made decisions based on what I thought was the best for the city of Hazlet. That's all I want to be out there and clear on the record.
I don't remember the exact date of the meeting, but the meeting that you're talking about, I think the meeting you're talking about, towards the end, walked over to Mr. Swanky and said some vulgar profanity to him, and that's what we're referring to as the stuff that Ms. Morrow said in language. So it's on video. It was live on YouTube, on our live feed. And so I don't know how many people saw it that was watching that night, but she walked over to him and said some vulgar profanity to him, and that's what we're referring to. So that, you said earlier you didn't ever say that, but it's on video, so I just wanted to. So.
All right, I'll go back and look at the video. I don't recall ever using. And if it was and the meeting was over, then maybe thought I was talking privately to him. And I said, I don't know. Mr. Swanky, do you remember what I said to you? Must have been really vulgar then, huh? I would think you'd remember if it was that vulgar, but I'll go on the video, I'll look, and if I did, then I apologize, and fine, then that was inappropriate, and I didn't know it was on there. And I apologize if I've embarrassed the city on that, but I don't have any recollection of that.
you know, with regard to using vulgarity, I've heard that from this council in open meetings, and we have clear video and audio of that. So, as that, Ms. Parker,
Feel free to bring a censure, sir.
You have requested, you are a board member of HCADC. You're a director. Please approach, identify yourself.
Patricia Parker, 219 Broadmoor, Vice President, ACEDCB Board. I'm here to talk to you if you're considering removing Frank Gatto from the HCEDCB Board. Frank has been an asset to my board, first as an alternate, then as seat place 6. He is very respected by me, and I thought of our board. His knowledge and insight as an attorney has been very helpful in our discussion and projects. His ability to look at both sides of an issue is not commonly found. It would be detrimental to our board to lose such an asset and valuable member. If there is anyone who needs to be replaced from our board, it is President Kitty Wirtz, based on the following. As the president of our board, she does not have any kind of working relationship with the mayor, and that is by her choice. On April 15th, 2025, before our board went into executive session, she initiated a confrontation with the mayor where she shoved the mayor in the chest. There are several witnesses to this incident. Ms. Wirtz has exhibited such uncontrolled emotions in meetings and in our executive sessions. My understanding of the law is that it is considered to be an assault, where she could have been charged and arrested. Mayor Halsey did not do that. She has accused and slandered the mayor, our city attorney, Jeremy Page, and John Slinker, the pastor of Northgate Church, as trying to make a backdoor deal for the property at 210 Main Street. When asked to produce evidence, my board was presented with an email that Mr. Slinker had sent to Mayor Halsey stating about the rudeness he experienced from the realtor about making an offer. Mayor Halsey responded and copied Jeremy Page on the email and referred to Mr. Slinker to Board President Kitty Wirtz and the realtor. Maybe the realtor's office was so rude to Mr. Slinker was because they were told by Mrs. Wirtz that she did not really want to sell the property to the church. I was told firsthand by 3 realtors from the Charlie Brown Realtor Group, one being Mr. Brown himself, that Ms. Wirtz was very biased and adamant that the church not get the property. I brought this up in open session on July 23rd at our regular scheduled meeting. Mr. Brown has also referred to Mrs. Wirtz as having a personal vendetta against the church. In my opinion, that personal vendetta is against Mayor Halsey. Ms. Wirtz has accused one or more of our board members as being a leak about things discussed in executive session, but in fact, we have discussed numerous items, outside of executive session. These items did not pertain to the subject on the agenda for the executive session. I also know we have violated Texas laws by discussing other topics at length in executive session that were not on our agenda. As of June 23rd meeting, President Wirtz is requesting that all agenda items be presented to her first. We are all directors to our board, and we do not need approval to put an agenda item on our upcoming meetings, just like the city council does not need approval from the mayor to put anything on your agenda. Ms. Morrow, you talked about us not having contact with city council or you with us. On June 23rd, Mr. Watkins was at our meeting, and he was boasting about the 7I agenda regarding the city administrator, and that there were going to be fireworks at this meeting that we should all tune in and watch. So with this being said, this is all unacceptable. The removal of Frank Gatto is unacceptable, and this action should not be tolerated by the citizens of Hazlet. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Parker.
Mr. Mayor, can I speak? I didn't sign up to speak, but I'd like to speak for just a minute, please.
Approach the podium and state your name, address, please.
Sandra Smith, 300 Gamble Street. I've attended several of the Type B meetings as a citizen of Old Town here. What's getting lost in this discussion is that there are actually people that live here and have come to those meetings and have spoken individually to board members more than one. I've talked to Kitty more than once, Kathy Brandon more than once. You know, some of us actually live here, and the subject being discussed is quality of life issues for those of us who live in Old Town. So as y'all do your little infighting and picking sides and bringing charges, you need to remember that there are real lives that are impacted. And there's a person who was impacted that spoke at these meetings who's now selling their house. Now, I haven't talked to her. I don't know why she's doing that, but this may be why. This right here may be why. So y'all need to remember everybody is serving. These people are serving, you're serving, but there's some folks who have some real agenda here. And there's some real ethical issues going on a lot of sides. And if you want to talk about hints of impropriety, I'll be happy to meet with you and give you proof of real impropriety. And some of them are people you side with pretty regularly. So riding around on scooters and talking about which properties are for sale and not disclosing which family ties they have to it while they sit up here and vote on things. So I just want to say, I've spoken at those meetings, I've watched those meetings, I've seen the infighting that goes on, and I think before you vote somebody off, you need to investigate it a little bit closer as a citizen of Old Town.
All right, thank you, Ms. Smith. I need to bring our attention back to this item itself. All right. Council, is there any discussion on this? And is there a motion?
Mayor Halsey, I would like to make a motion to remove Frank Gatto from the HCEDC Corporation Board Member Place 6.
Motion is made to remove Mr. Frank Gatto from the EDC Board, Place 6. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
There is a second. Any discussion? All in favor? 1, 2, 3, keep your hands up. It's unanimous. Mr. Gatto, you are removed. Thank you, sir. 7G, excuse me, before we go that, I'm going to call for a 5-minute recess. Go to the restroom. And that reset, this is at 8:46 p.m. We'll resume in 5 minutes. What?
I said, thank you for saying that. I was about to go to the bathroom.
All right, council, I'll call the open session back into order at 7:56 PM. All the council members are present. 8:56, that's right, 8:56. I knew that. I'm glad. All right, item 7G, discuss, consider, and act regarding the proposed FY 2025-2026 budget that is here. We had our budget workshop on Saturday. If you wanted to make any comments or anything like that towards the budget.
Mayor Halsey, I was wondering if we could, I would like to make a motion to move 7G and 7H to the bottom of the agenda.
7G.
And 7H.
To the bottom?
Correct.
Sure, we can do
Great.
that.
Thank you.
So you made a motion. So, all right, we'll follow through. The motion is made to move 7G and 7H to the bottom of the agenda. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
There is a second. Any discussion?
Call the question.
All in favor? Motion passes. 7G and 7H are moved to the bottom of the agenda. 7I, discuss, consider, and act on an ordinance to recall ordinances numbers 0102-02, 0902-03, and 012-2012, reinstating the office and job duties of the city administrator and repealing ordinance 16/2022. This was requested by Councilmember Watkins, and in this, I was looking at a statement. Any statement to be made, if you have read this agenda packet, is that statement's already made. What's being attempted here is the city council would like to have a city manager form of government. And that is where the city manager is the chief executive officer of this municipality, and they are also the budget officer of the municipality. But that is only an action that can be called by the citizens upon petition. It's not an action that a city council can take. It starts with a petition from residents, and it's got to meet certain criteria, and then that is submitted. And then if that meets the criteria according to statute, then the governing body must call for an election on the matter. And then it is on the ballot at a general election. And that's where the people vote on it, because it's the people's decision, not 5 people sitting on this board. But that is, in essence, what is trying to be done here. This administration was elected 4 years ago for different reasons. And 2 years ago, over 2 years ago, then reelected, and both by a resounding percentage. And then this last election. We all want for the best of the city of Haslett. But during that period of time, these last 4 years, it's been unprecedented, the growth. And it's been managed very well. But nonetheless, Mr. Page, our city attorney, has written a response to all of this. It's in the agenda item. Hope you've read it. But that's what's appropriate.
You mean Mr. Page's opinion? The fact that we're not creating a city manager form of government, which you're correct, sir, that would require a charter approved by the citizens. We are, in this essence,
Mr.
recalling an
Watkins,
ordinance that
Mr.
you had the city
You
council
are out
pass.
of order. You are disrupting.
Are we not up for discussion of this item yet?
Not yet.
Oh, you still grandstanding? Cool.
You are very disrespectful. You have no professionalism at all. You know what's a standout here is that this is our business meeting for the city of Haslett. And you're the most rude individual I believe I've ever met. You have no sense of professionalism. You must work by yourself wherever you work. Very good. So, with that, and do we have speakers on this topic?
We do, and we have several speaker cards for people that are in person would like to speak, and then we have about 12 letters, emails that were sent in.
Do we have any speakers online?
We do not have any speakers online.
Those speakers in the chamber. You give us the first one.
Okay, these are in no particular order. Patricia Parker.
Speakers, as you come up, if you will identify yourself.
Can you let Ms. Grace go first? She's got 2 little kids.
Stephanie.
All right, my name's Stephanie Grace. Brad and I live at 1406 Poppy Drive. To the City Council, we are writing to express our strong opposition to the hiring of a city administrator to our current City Council that is being proposed by the current City Council members. You guys were all elected by the residents of Haslett to represent the interests of all of us. A significant change in the manner in which our city is governed should not be made solely by a small group of individuals. It should be subject to public debate, thorough review by all citizens of Haslett. There appears to be underlying motives by certain elected officials that warrant scrutiny. The salary increase for such a position should be subject to full participation that we all get to decide on by hiring this city administrator. The history of Haslett demonstrates that the position of a city administrator has not yielded a significant financial benefit or growth of the city. In fact, it has been associated with a lack of alignment with the interests of all the citizens, as evidenced by the city administrator's opposition to the construction of a bridge years ago that would go over Avondale Haslett. Any position of authority, such as one that is being proposed by Councilman Watkins, should not be held without explicit consent of the citizens. The attorney's analysis underscores the importance of holding a citizen's petition, voting in order to legally uphold such a change. Additionally, the attorney also stated that the City Council cannot delegate authority of the mayor as outlined by the state law. The mayor's recent election underscores the importance of respecting the wishes of citizens. If some of the individuals desired a different perspective, then they should have sought out a candidate to represent their interests, rather than attempting to overturn state laws and changing a city government. We both firmly oppose any changes to our governance and will closely monitor how you all vote as the 5 city council members to ensure that you uphold the wishes of the people that speak tonight, the people who have emailed. And the bottom line is, this is a matter that we should, if it needs to be changed, needs to be petitioned. It needs to be voted on by more than 5 people. Furthermore, my observation tonight of the disrespect by certain council members to the mayor, it's seen on other meetings that I haven't even attended and I've watched. The inappropriate language, the verbal and nonverbal, is becoming embarrassing to some of the residents of Haslett that you do represent. And I think it needs to be monitored closely, because that's not what we voted y'all here for. We voted you all here to uphold our wishes, to let citizens' voices be heard, not a small group that controls a large majority of the city's residents.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there another speaker?
Okay, Ms. Parker.
Patricia Parker, 219 Broadmoor Drive. I'm here to speak to you regarding the ordinance to recall ordinance 0102-02, 0902-03, and 012-2012, reinstating the office and job duties of the city administrator and repealing ordinance 016-2022. Some of you were on the city council with the previous mayor. Some of you were not. Some of you were not even citizens of the city of Hazlet. Under the city administration and economic development coordinator with the previous mayor, we had several problems regarding the city of Hazlet. Lot sizes changes, allowing PIDs to come in, which only benefited the developer and not the homeowner. We had a city engineer that overlooked the basic development designs such as sewer and water lines that were not going to be able to keep up with our new developments. And then we also had the Amazon warehouse deal, where we are currently paying $500,000 a year to them, just because the city administrator wanted to be as Hazlet to have Amazon. I'm not going to go into too much detail. I'm sure you'll be hearing it from other people speaking here from the city of Hazlet. City of Hazlet is a type A general law municipality, and as a type A general law municipality, Hazlet has the mayor council or aldermanic form of government. Its officers include the secretary, the treasurer, assessor, and collector, municipal attorney, marshal, municipal engineer, and any other officers or agents authorized by the governing body. As provided by Jeremy Page, the city council may expand the powers of the mayor. The office of the attorney general has ruled that the governing body may not delegate to another person the power and duty statutorily assigned to the mayor. Texas Attorney Gen Op number JC-0544. Accordingly, the Hazlet City Council has no authority to remove or otherwise interfere with the statutory assignment duties of the mayor. So with that being stated in black and white, you're all going to sit here and try to tell all the citizens of Hazlet that you are going against the state of Texas Attorney General? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Parker. Do we have another speaker?
We do. We have several. Sandra Smith.
Ms. Smith, if you would please approach the podium in your name and address, please.
Sandra Smith, 300 Gamble Street. I oppose the recall and repealing of the ordinances called out in 7I of tonight's agenda.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Do we have another speaker?
Carrie Ricketts.
Mr. Ricketts, please state your name and address.
Terry Ricketts, 215 Broadmoor Drive, Texas. Mayor and council, thank you. I'm usually on the other side of this in the past, so this time I actually get to address you. Again, I think it was laid out pretty well by Jeremy Page and the mayor and everything. I was part of the prior administration that actually looked at this and read this document, this is 2022, and said, we did it wrong. That the prior city council did it wrong. And what you looked at is, if you looked at, you know, the way it's currently worded, and I can be corrected too by legal, you're asking to repeal ordinance 16/2022. Repealing 1622 was the repeal of the other 3 ordinances that got it wrong. Because the other 3 ordinances that got it wrong did not even quote this in chapter 2, stating this is what we're going to go do, because they knew that they could not do what they did. They hired a city manager, a city administrator that bypassed the mayor and went straight to the city council. That is the city council form of government. And if to do that, you have to have it by a vote. And that's what I believe people have laid out. People that have talked before me have laid out great in front of you. Look at the law. If you want to do this, you have the right to do this. You can turn around and ask for the petition, have the city go the rightful way, but make it go to a vote of the people. Do not do this as a city council.
Thank you, Mr. Ricketts. Next speaker,
Kitty Wertz.
Ms. Wertz. Please state your name and address.
Kitty Wertz, 205 Thistle Drive. And before I make my statement, I just want to emphatically deny the comments that were made by earlier folks in the session. We had a rebuttal that spoke to Mayor Halsey attacking our board in public on July 23rd, saying that slander had been taken and that we were handling the properties incorrectly. That was proven to be wrong with our remarks on June the 4th. So I asked people in this chamber to go back and look at those meetings if they want to see what the heck happened. Now I will speak to this particular agenda item, mayor versus administrator versus city manager. Having a mayor who wants to micromanage and exert control in every aspect of the city is not beneficial for Hazlet. I can't tell you how many times Mayor Halsey has told me and the HCEDC board members not to contact staff directly, but to contact him so he can direct whatever the action needed. In my opinion, it's not a good environment for employees to be under the type of control. It doesn't foster efficiency and responsibility, and it's suffocating to the staff. Mayor Halsey is involved in every detail and cannot manage the larger problems that Hazlet is being faced with. Mayor Halsey has helped solve some big problems in the past. That I give you credit for. He has a lot of strengths when it comes to engineering and structural problems. He is reluctant to work in teams and adopt new ideas that are different from his own. He is unwilling to listen to others and to compromise for the good of the community. He tries to silo board members and never allow cross-functioning teams to interact. In my opinion, he has little vision to improve the parks, the ball fields, the general landscape of the city. We continue to look like a rural area that is far below the status of what Hazlet residents want and deserve. Why is he in the weeds with small issues when big problems are not being addressed and worked on with the attention needed to solve them? Example, he's tried to control our HCEDC agenda for the last 4 months. He's a private citizen to our board, and that was provided to me through the Texas Municipal League. Yet he has tried to interject himself into decisions our board is responsible to make. The board's independent of the city with the work and the duties we perform. He's overstepping his role in the board meetings and trying to direct our actions through another board member to benefit his outcome, no matter what others might want. He has dominated the agenda and not allowed the board to do the work we volunteered to do on projects. Effectively, he has made us waste our time for the last 4 months with this nonsense, and it is nonsense. And it's hurt a lot of people, and he's sitting there with a stone face like he doesn't even care. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Let's look forward and hire a city administrator or move to a city manager form of government so that we're able to run the city in a professional and well-organized manner. Major decisions must not be made by one individual. We need the citizens to get involved in our local politics and help Hazlet become the jewel of a city that it should be. We need new blood, we need new ideas, we need folks to get involved for a better outcome.
Thank you, Ms. Wertz. Next speaker,
Laura Slaughterhoff.
Ms. Slaughterhoff. Please state your name and address.
Laura Slaughterhoff, 1195 Wildcenter Way. If you haven't already, I encourage you to go back and watch HCEDC Type B meetings, specifically April 23rd, June 4th, and July 23rd meetings. We've had quite a bit of difficulty doing the job that you appointed us to do. I'd like to get back to what our board is supposed to do and not just sell land. We've been wrapped up in 210 Main Street for 4 months because Patricia Parks has been working on a different agenda behind our backs. She did not communicate her views to us. She told us she added agenda items to several meetings and did not allow the president to review those items. She let us believe Mayor Halsey added them and never corrected us. Her omission of information is just as egregious as her lying. I don't trust Patricia, and if what she says is true about adding all these agenda items, then I'm disappointed that Mayor Halsey did not advise her to discuss these agenda items with her board. This implies that he was supportive of her actions of adding agenda items in secret. I have spent many hours away from my family doing the necessary research needed to justify how the board handled the property over the last year and a half. Mayor Halsey worked with Mr. Page, the city, and the HCEDC's attorney on April 23rd agenda items. Mayor Halsey implied that the board minimized the church's rights and questioned our procedure. At the time, I didn't feel it was in the board's best interest to consult with Mr. Page on this topic. Mayor Halsey's actions and consultation with Mr. Page during that April 23rd meeting showed me that we had a conflict of interest using the same attorney as the city. What I didn't know at the time was that Mayor Halsey and Patricia Parks were billing Mr. Page's services to the HCEDC account without consulting with President Kitty Wertz or the whole board. Our explanation on June 4th should demonstrate to you that we were following what we believed was the correct way to handle 210 Main Street. I'm disappointed that Mayor Halsey chose to belittle us in public, as we had invited him into our executive session before his speech on April 23rd. He seemed so adamant that he be included in our April 15th executive session that he made things quite awkward. To wrap up, we have since found out that in this situation, as you've heard many times, Mayor Halsey is a private citizen and does not have the right to attend our executive session meetings unless we invite him. I believe now that we have no choice but to move to a different type of government.
Thank you, madam. Do we have another speaker?
Joel Bullard is next.
Mr. Bullard, if you would state your name and address.
Joel Bullard, 108 Hurley, Mayor, members of the council. Look, I'm no attorney. We've got a couple in the audience tonight. I don't believe any of y'all are attorneys. Is that correct? Nobody on the board or the council is an attorney? Okay. I always say, let the plumbers do the plumbing. And in this case, the plumbers are the attorneys. When we're trying to usurp state law, I read Mr. Page's opinion on this agenda item, and it appears to me that this is illegal. So I highly recommend that all of you take your city attorney's opinion and do not do what you're trying to do tonight. I've heard several attacks, what I've witnessed here tonight, from the unprofessionalism and the attacks on Mr. Halsey. It's clear to everybody sitting in this audience what's going on. It's very obvious. So whether it's Mr. Halsey as the mayor, whether it's Tanya as the mayor, whether it's Doug as the mayor, or James as the mayor, it doesn't matter who's the mayor. What you're trying to do is change the type of government that Haslett has. Nobody has voted on that. Not one person has voted on that. Not one citizen has voted on that. That has to be done by the citizens. To change the type of government we're having, or that we have, it has to be done by the citizens, not 5 people sitting on the city council. So if you don't like Gary, that's fine. That's a difference of opinion, difference of personalities, whatever the case, that needs to be handled at the ballot box. Not here tonight in a city council meeting. And certainly not if the citizens haven't voted on it. So I oppose this. I wrote a letter to the city secretary. I would ask that that be read and included in the minutes of tonight's meeting. And every other email that she received be read and included in tonight's minutes. This is wrong. It shouldn't be happening because of the difference in personalities or opinions. This should be handled at the ballot box, not here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bullard. Are there other speakers?
Chuck Tackett is next.
Mr. Thackett, state your name and address, please.
My name is Chuck Tackett. I live at 217 Wimberley Drive in Hazlet, and I have the privilege also of serving as a Place 5 Commissioner on Hazlet's Planning and Zoning Commission. Item 7.1 on tonight's agenda proposes removing Mayor Gary Halsey from the managing the city's operations and reinstating a city administrator at a really extreme cost estimated around $200,000. This is not only a fiscally questionable move, but it also contradicts the legal framework that governs the city like ours. But beyond the legality, the practical history of this idea speaks for itself. We've had a city administrator in the past, and it didn't serve us well. We really cannot afford to go back and relive those mistakes. Today, under Mayor Halsey's leadership, decisions are made by someone who lives in Hazlet, knows Hazlet, and is directly accountable to its residents. He's been on the P&Z board for the past couple of years. He's been nothing but a professional leader and a great example, and he loves our city. Replacing that leadership with a costly, potentially non-resident administrator is not progress. It's a step in the wrong direction. We had an election a couple of months ago. He ran unopposed. He won. He won very well. He won because no one opposed him. If you want to change, we should vote at the voting block, not here. I urge the council to vote against this ordinance. Let's follow the law, protect our budget, and keep leadership local and accountable. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thackett. Any other speakers?
We have 2 more. Joette Keene.
Ms. Keene, if you would state your name and address.
Joette Keene, 1410 Poppy Drive. Since I originally heard Councilmember Watkins, request this agenda item, I've been thinking about this. And first, I'm hoping tonight, as you discuss this item, you'll consider not only why you believe a city administrator role is needed or not, but also examine what transpired under the time when there was a previous city administrator. And I don't know the history of why that other council decided that was something they were going to ignore the statutes and put in place. I've heard rumors, but I don't know that they're facts. I think there was some need that happened. But regardless of that, I think prior to 2021, when a mayor resumed the oversight and took action to rectify issues, there were numerous things, and people started talking about them earlier, that quickly came to mind that I know about because I lived here, that were or could have been detrimental to Hazlet. And definitely with that city administrator, these things were not considered, the impact to the citizens or even the cost impact. And let me just name a few of them. Under that previous city administrator role, there was support and ordinance changes that allowed for planned developments. It changed really the complexion to small lots, and it altered the uniqueness of Hazlet. It also allowed PIDs, an extra cost and burden to homeowners that benefited developers. The city administrator overseeing a city employee missed key impacts, in particular sewer and other gaps in the developer requirements for Sweetgrass that could have cost the city millions to rectify. Giving up our future ad valorem for Hazlet Parkway construction, rather than advocating, as we've seen happen with our other roads, such as the other changes that we've had where Mayor Halsey has in fact negotiated to get things covered by people who would benefit. We gave up ad valorem for Hazlet Parkway under that previous council and leadership of a city administrator. The complete gap in long-term planning, which we learned, based on the impact of the growth without corresponding long-range planning, which ultimately required catch-up and subsequent tax increases. There was no vision for managing aging equipment. This was the responsibility of the person who was overseeing the city. And that added lost time from performance and cost for repeated repairs to equipment. There was no vision for an alternate approach of a growing city. For example, the firehouse needs. There was discussion of building a new firehouse. But instead, there was a different approach taken when we came under a mayor. Likely there's more things that I just didn't think about that were not managed appropriately in the best interest of the citizens. All these were things the current mayor and subsequent councils had to address. Recognizing that a city administrator was not the best solution to support the needs of a growing and more complex city, the ordinance were eliminated, modified, and Hazlet reverted to a true Type A government model. Having a mayor Type A who lives in Hazlet, regardless of who is in the role, and I want to emphasize that, regardless of who is in the role. The same as council members who live here, ensures that the needs and the best interests of the citizens are heard and enacted. If you truly believe that this type of A government is no longer feasible for Hazlet, that is, a future mayor may not have sufficient time or background or knowledge of Texas law and local government code, then I strongly suggest that the council proposes to solicit via citizen petition to move to a city manager form of government and have an election where informed citizens make the decision. However, ensure that it's also recognized when that's put before citizens that this form of government can have no residency requirements, correct? They can't force that that person lives in the city, which adds risks that we saw with the previous city administrator and adds a minimum of $2,000 plus salary burden on taxpayers. Finally, and I hesitate to say this, but after listening to this meeting tonight, and you guys know I've been here, I try to attend as many city council meetings as I can in person because I think it's really, really important to understand what's going on and have a voice. And I'm only one voice. But I've lived in Hazlet since 2013. and became engaged with the actions of the city council shortly thereafter. What I've witnessed is shocking and a highly divided community. I've seen friendships now completely destroyed by what's going on. You have no idea how that feels. You may think I'm biased, but I assure you I am not. I don't know the past history of what triggered all this animosity, but what I've observed is really concerning. So when you decide on this item, I hope you really examine your motives. Are you proposing a change to benefit current and future Hazlet citizens? Or are you proposing this because of a lingering, perplexing, and animosity against a person versus really the role of having a mayor leading your city? Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Ms. Keene. Are there any other speakers?
Chris Halsey.
Ms. Halsey, you would state your name and address, please.
Chris Halsey, 2003 Highway 156, Hazlet. Council and Mayor. Ordinance 010202, 090203, and 012-2012, being voted on tonight, specifically remove the duties and responsibilities of the mayor and transfers them to a hired city administrator who reports to the council. City Attorney Jeremy Page provided a legal opinion, which is included in the agenda. The Attorney General of the state of Texas ruled that, quote, while the City Council may expand on the powers of the mayor, the Office of the Attorney General has ruled that the governing body may not delegate to another person the power and duties statutorily assigned to the mayor. Texas Attorney Opinion number JC 0544. Accordingly, the Hazlet City Council has no authority to remove or otherwise interfere with the statutorily assigned duties of the mayor, including those set forth on page 3 herein. This includes the mayor's role as the chief executive officer of the city. If you decide to vote to resurrect ordinances 010202, 020903, and 012-2012 as written, you are directly opposing a ruling of the State of Texas Attorney General's Office. I hope the citizens of Hazlet see this for what it is, a power play to remove the mayor from doing his job. Prior to 2 people tonight, there is no current outcry from Hazlet residents against anything the mayor has done. In May of 2023, he won by a landslide. And 3 months ago, he won unopposed. The citizens of Hazlet chose him to lead and direct the city of Hazlet. You 3 newest council members all expressed the intention of listening to and responding to the residents of this city when you ran for office. I recommend you follow what you said you were going to do. Represent the majority of the citizens of Hazlet and do not recall these ordinances. At one time, Hazlet did have a city administrator and an economic development coordinator. Hazlet is still paying for their multiple bad decisions. They negotiated with Amazon for the privilege of building their first warehouse in Hazlet. As you covered in the budget meetings on Saturday, we are still paying Amazon around $500,000 every year for the great deal these professionals negotiated. In closing, at the budget meeting, Councilman Carruthers related how concerned the council was for the mayor's health and well-being. If that is the case, I like the idea to hire an assistant city administrator who reports to the mayor. That would be a position that would actually help the mayor and help the city of Hazlet to move forward. I encourage you to choose that alternate option and not recall the ordinances in this agenda item. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Halsey. Do we have another speaker?
No, but we do have a list of emails that were sent in on this item.
And they requested they be read. Please commence reading.
Okay. The first one is Joel Bullard. I oppose the hiring of a city administrator. This needs to be voted on by the citizens of Hazlet. We voted for a mayor, not an appointed city administrator manager. Thank you, Joel Bullard. Second one, Cynthia Barnes. We are not going to be able to attend the council meeting tonight, but I would like to have our opinion regarding hiring a city administrator entered into the council meeting record as a no. I do not see a need for creating another position and probably spending for a hefty salary for the employee. I feel like the money could be put to better use, as we are happy with Mayor Halsey continuing those duties and responsibilities also. Regards, Cynthia and Philip Fanning. Hector Nahara, I am writing to express my opposition in the hiring of a city administrator. If the city council wishes to proceed with this decision, it should follow the proper procedures, including obtaining the necessary number of signatures from Hazlet residents to bring the matter to a vote. This issue is significant to our community, and it is essential that the voices of Hazlet citizens are heard and respected in the decision-making process. Transparency and adherence to established procedures ensure that any major changes in city leadership reflect the will of the people. I urge you to take the appropriate steps to allow residents to participate in this decision and to uphold the democratic process. I would like to have my email read to the City Council and entered into the minutes. Thank you for your time and consideration. Hector Nahara. Wow. Leah Preston. My name is Leah Preston, and I live at 1608 Nettle Lane in Hazlet. I would like this email to be sent to all the City Council members and to be read into the official minutes of the City Council meeting on Monday, August the 4th. I encourage the Mayor and City Council to come together and work for the good of Hazlet. Hazlet is a great city with a lot of growth to come in the immediate future. I encourage you to work on the only thing that city residents care about right now, and that's the quality of life for the residents. Our roads are terrible, the traffic is awful, and will continue to get worse as new homes are built in these surrounding areas and as school starts next week. We need new creative ideas that will not happen if we are stuck in court fighting over a city administrator. Instead of focusing on hiring city administrator to take over the duties of the mayor, I encourage everyone to work on partnering with Tarrant County, Fort Worth, and TxDOT to fix our roads. The responsibilities of the mayor are great, and if a city assistant is needed to create budgets, handle permits, and reach out to the state to work on getting our roads fixed, I would support the hiring of an assistant to help the mayor as long as all executive power stayed with the mayor. If the council votes to remove executive authority from the mayor, there will be a long, drawn-out lawsuit that the council will eventually lose. This is a waste of time and money. Hazlet is out of time. Our roads are broken now. Please focus on our roads. If the council feels Haslett should be a different type of government, the council should go about that through the proper channels, bringing it to a vote for the citizens of Haslett to decide on. As it is now, the city council does not have that legal authority. I encourage the mayor to work with city employees and the city council in a friendly and timely manner, delegating what can be delegated and focusing on critical infrastructure, not a farm-to-market or equine center. Haslett has the potential to be a great city. That is something we can all agree on. Please put your differences aside, table the issue of an empowered administrator, and get to work on improving our roads and quality of life. Sincerely, Leah Preston. Eric Crawford. Dear members of the City Council, my name is Eric Crawford. I live at 114 Brentwood Lane. I am opposed to going back to a city ran by a city administrator. I believe Mayor Halsey is doing a great job with the help of the council of getting our city back on track and prepared for the future. I would like this read into the City Council meeting tonight, please. Thanks, Eric. Sandra Tharp. Please pass on our opinion on the hiring of a city administrator for Haslett to the next City Council meeting. My wife and I have resided in Haslett for 32 years and have experienced the time when we tried to have a mayor and a city administrator. That was such an inefficient use of our tax funds that we are surprised that this subject has come up again. In our opinion, the mayor has performed this function well without the redundancy of a city administrator. We urge the City Council to decline the appointment of a city administrator. Respectfully, Ron and Sandra Tharp. Cindy Laird. Mayor and members of the Haslett City Council, I am writing to express my full support for the hiring of a city administrator. As our community continues to grow, it's more important than ever to have a qualified professional individual in place to help guide and manage that growth. A city administrator would bring the expertise needed to present all available options to the council, particularly in matters of public safety, infrastructure, and maintaining a productive, well-functioning city. In addition, having a central point of leadership to oversee city boards, manage the budget responsibility, and coordinate communication with outside organizations such as TxDOT, the Metroport Chamber, and prospective businesses would be a tremendous asset to Haslett. It would help ensure that the city remains a safe, attractive, and efficient place to live and work. Thank you for your time and consideration on this important matter. I appreciate your service to our community and your continued efforts to help Haslett thrive. Please read this email into the record during the meeting minutes, August 4th, 2025. Thank you, Cindy Laird. Jeannie Galloway. I am writing in favor of hiring a city administrator. We need an individual with knowledge and experience to professionally guide our city as we continue to grow. We need as little waste as possible with desired positive results. Please read this email into the record during the meeting minutes. Thank you, Jeannie and Gary Galloway. Hildreth McCon. Hello, my name is Hildreth McCon and my address is 1413 Nettle Lane. Please forward my message to all council members. I strongly oppose the idea of hiring a city manager for the city of Haslett. Our city is too small to inherit an additional long-term salaried cost. Thank you, Hildreth McCon. Tony Marlowe. I oppose hiring a city administrator. Tony Marlowe, Haslett, Texas. Benjamin Drury. Read into the minutes if possible. I realize it's short notice. Much appreciated, Todd Drury. Also, please include my letter in the minutes if possible. Please forward to all members of the City Council. Thank you. Okay, dear council members, we are writing to express our opposition to item 8F. That was from the 6/16 meeting on the agenda regarding changing our system of government to a city administrator rather than a mayor. It's honestly amazing to see something of this nature on the agenda. It clearly represents a personal agenda to grab power without being duly elected to that position. Our city elected a mayor. Whether or not we agree with him on every issue, it is clear that he is out there advocating for our city on issues that confront us. Do we expect a city administrator to seek out these meetings, to attend neighborhood meetings, and to listen to the public the way our duly elected mayor does? It's just not possible that they would. We implore every member of this council to abandon this juvenile, vendetta-driven idea and not vote the affirmative for this agenda item. Please use your energy to work in a positive direction with our elected mayor and stop this childish, high school level behavior that goes against the wishes of the majority of our town. Sincerely, Todd and Diana Drury. Last one, Jeff Toon. City council members, our names are Jeff and Amy Toon, and we reside at 301 Benttree Lane, Haslett, Texas 76052. Our family opposes the hiring of a city administrator. Please forward this message to all council members and read into the official minutes of the June 16th City Council meeting. Thank you, Jeff and Amy Toon.
So that was all of the letters submitted.
Up until 5 o'clock, I can't speak for after that.
All right, do we have anybody online?
No, sir, we do not.
Just checking in the chambers. Is there, I believe we've already covered the chamber, or have? Yes, ma'am. Please approach. State your name and your address, please.
My name's Stephanie Grace, 1406 Poppy. So I just hope that everyone was paying attention when just doing some check marks, that there were only 4 people, 4 out of the 24 people that spoke or expressed their wishes against this matter that were for it. So 83% of the people who spoke tonight are absolutely against this motion.
Thank you, ma'am. All right. All speakers have spoken, both in the chambers, online, at the, which there were none. All letters have been read. Mr. Watkins, it's to you.
Thank you, sir, and I appreciate the comments from all the citizens. And just for some clarification for everyone, the agenda item tonight is not this council creating any new position. We're simply recalling an ordinance that Mayor Halsey previously had the council in his favor put on the agenda to remove. We're simply just undoing what a previous council did by removing this position. With the growth of our city, give you one example. Look at our trash service, for example. Didn't we have to just call a special meeting because we almost didn't have our trash service working around because the mayor decided to price check a company, then let the ball drop and didn't come back and actually finish the job? So then they had to pull a special council in order to make sure we still had current trash service. That's the kind of things that we need. I'm speaking, sir. That's the kind of things that we need to avoid. I'm speaking, ma'am. Please be quiet.
You guys can't talk over the council.
Again.
Oh, okay, hold on.
Sir, no one's talking
Hold
to you.
on. All.
No one's talking to me? Is that what you said?
Yes, sir.
You're looking right at me speaking, so yes, you are talking to me.
All right. Let's gather ourselves. Mr. Watkins has the floor. He's expressing, again, his reason for the request, I suspect.
The request is for better leadership for our city. The fact that we have a city secretary position that has been open for well over a year. The fact that our city has multiple positions within the organization that have not been able to fill said employment positions. So yes, the city does need better leadership. And yes, 7 years ago, when there was 600 homes in Haslett and you guys didn't sign a deal with the devil and let all these developers come in and put these massive neighborhoods all over Haslett, because as soon as you let these developers come in and put massive neighborhoods all over Haslett, you change the dynamic of Haslett. And when you change the dynamic of Haslett, you change the dynamic of everything, because now we have a bigger draw on our system. But with the lack of leadership within the city administration, we are not able to go out and recruit new businesses to come in to bring tax revenue for our city. In our last budget meeting for the last 5 years, the city has not shown any growth in sales tax revenue. Do you know what that means for a city whose entire revenue is derived from sales tax info? When your public works is losing money, the sewer is getting paid for by the water, and that's acceptable for multiple years? That's the leadership that you say is valid within the city? No, it's not. The mayor has a lot on his plate, as Councilman Carruthers spoke in the budget meeting. So what this agenda item does is free him up to truly be the face of the city and go out and do what he should do, which is represent the city of Hazlet, to where now he doesn't have to worry about the daily operational aspects of our city, let alone take the city from a standpoint of look at as a business, right? What happens if a business has consistent change in leadership? Does a business thrive? Does it grow? Does it expand? No, it does not. What a city administrator does, because you guys are misconstruing the terminology here. A city manager is a different form of government, a charter form of government. We're not looking for that. We are looking for a city administrator, and we're not even creating the government or the legal structure of said government. We're simply recalling an ordinance passed by a previous council that had the position already instated. So yes, this is for our city in the best possible way to set a true foundation for growth, because you cannot grow at the rate we're growing and keep the infrastructure and the tax revenue at the rate it's coming. Because once all these homes are finished being built, that extra money that's coming to the city, well, that goes away. So then what is left for our city is sales tax revenue, which is how you derive a city. So this is going to set a foundation that gives our city an ability to grow exponentially from this point to the extent of our boundaries, which isn't very big. But for that being said, and for the comments in regards to Amazon and the other places that a city administrator did, for all of you that I guess don't understand how the city government works, the city council had to approve anything that they did. So the administrators only enacted what the city council at the time approved. So justifying that kind of argument to a position within this organization is not a good argument. There's too many holes in it. And for my opinion, it's not just my opinion. It's up to this council to decide what we do. Mr. Page gave a great opinion, but it is just that. It's his opinion. It's not bound by anything.
So I want to add on to that, if you're done, Mr. Watkins. Yeah, I did have a question about the legal opinion, because I know a lot of people referred to Chapter 25, which is adopting the manager form of government, and we don't have that form of government. Section 26042 says the governing body of the municipality may set the date and election for municipal officers, and that we can create offices and determine the method of selecting officers. And I did a little research off TML. I looked at every city in the state of Texas that was our general law type A, and there were 52. I'm gonna do math. 16, 19, 18, so 52. 18 of those 19 was our mayor council form of government, 19 were mayor council form of government, and 18 all had a city administrator. So are all 18 of these cities breaking the law? And I only looked at population 4,000 to 5,000. I didn't have the time to look below that, but that's where we are. So 18 other cities, and Hunters Creek, Meadows Place, Hallsville, Falfurrias, Caldwell, Groesbeck, Comanche, Whitesboro, there's 18 I could name, all have our aldermanic form of government and a mayor council form of government and a city administrator. So they're all operating illegally under Texas Local Government Code. And then I looked at, one other thing, I'll be quick, then I looked at the other council manager form of government. There's 16, they all had managers. Then I looked at the other 18 who were home rule, and they also had managers. So out of the 52 cities between 4,000 and 5,000 population in the entire state of Texas, one does not have a city administrator or a city manager. One, us. And so I just am confused why where no one is trying, you are correct, we cannot legally take any statutory duties away from our mayor. That is accurate. But we're not neglecting or ordinance for a chief executive officer, but a chief administrator officer. And it's nothing personal. It's just we need professional help with our city. It is gone stagnant. So I guess, Mr. Page, I'll let you answer. But
Yes.
so there's 18 cities. How are they operating under
Sure.
this?
Well, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to kind of provide more insight into the opinion. And so my opinion, the opinion that I drafted for the council and which was included in the packet, is based off of that 2002 Attorney General opinion. And the Attorney General opinion was pretty much asked the same question: can a Type A general law city have a city administrator? And if you notice in that Attorney General opinion, they really only focus on those that are the black and white, as Councilmember Watkins mentioned earlier, which are those explicit statutory powers that are included under state law. And so what the AG ruled on was that you can't take away the mayor's power, the authority to be, for example, the chief budget officer for the city. And so based off of that, that is what I'm saying here, that those powers that are explicitly included under state law can't be taken away from him. And now what do the other cities do? Because the mayor is right that he is, under state law, the chief executive officer for the city. However, state law doesn't define that. And so my guess is that most other cities narrowly define what a CEO does in that capacity in hiring a city administrator. And so I want to make sure I reiterate, nowhere in the opinion do I say that general law cities who have a city administrator are operating illegally. That is not my opinion.
Okay, so we can't be sued, like someone said, with a lawsuit. Okay, so if this gets voted, there's no lawsuit that we're putting the city and, No. Okay, and then I know another comment was made about the mayor has an executive assistant. She's wonderful. So I don't get the question about the assistant. I'm trying to think of anything else. I'll come back in a minute. I'm sure.
Can I just say one other thing just about a practical consideration is that we're discussing, quote unquote ordinance tonight. However, no ordinance has been drafted yet. And so my plan is to kind of, whatever y'all decide tonight, whatever y'all vote on tonight, I'll draft an ordinance that actually codifies and papers up everything that we talk about tonight, and that will be presented for approval at the next meeting.
All right, council, any other further discussion? All right, if not, then is there a motion to be made?
Mayor, I'd like to just put out some general information when we talk about what I see, how are things actually run? And I hear from the citizens out here, and I believe that Ms. Grace got up and gave us numbers. One thing I'm a little concerned about is how many people I would say were recruited to speak on this item by the emails put out by Chris Hulsey, which I believe Chris Hulsey is the spouse of the mayor, if I get the relationship correctly. So, and
She's my girlfriend.
Going back to June 16th, she put out an email to a large constituents saying, strongly suggesting to voice their opinion at the council. At the time, the June 16th meeting ended up being canceled due to lack of quorum. But she suggested your message could be as simple as, I oppose the hiring of a city administrator. Include your name and address. Okay.
Is there something wrong with that?
And then we go to July 9th, which was a Wednesday. Okay, and this was in reference to, now that's Wednesday, July 9th. So she sends us out then in relation to a July 14th city council meeting. And in this, down in the body, it says, one note, there is a council meeting next Monday night, let me get that correct, Monday night, July 14th. The agenda usually gets posted on Fridays. It says, to my knowledge, the city administrator item will not be on the agenda. Now, this is before city council members have a clue what the agenda is going to be. So how is information getting out to a masses on an email chain with knowledge of a city council meeting prior to city council members even knowing about it. To me, I don't know if that's actually breaking the law. I'd have to ask Mr. Page, but I think there's some morality issues with the way that's presented. So that's the 2 cents. So people ask, what's going on in the city? Well, who's running the city? I guess what I come back to on this. So this is some of the things that citizens, all citizens don't see. I think we're 3,000 people. I don't know if all those are on this particular email chain, but I find it just bothersome that a certain group are notified about agenda items prior to city council, which would be the Friday before a city council meeting.
Well, I do sleep with her.
I think that's a little
It's,
inappropriate.
But there is nothing there. So, discussion, council,
Mayor Halsey, I'd like to make a motion.
please.
I'd like to make a motion to approve an ordinance to recall ordinance numbers 0102-02, 0902-03, and 012-2012, reinstating the office and job duties of the city administrator. I'm amending my motion from the agenda item as listed because I did not put that in there as it states. So I will leave my motion agended for approval as it states.
I am not clear on that last bit. I got up to that first sentence, but you're reinstating the office and job duties of the city administrator, and then what?
And that's it. Because on the motion, you put an incorrect sentence at the bottom of my initially requested agenda item of reinstating the office and job duties of the city administrator and repealing ordinance 016-2022. That's not what I put in my requested item, and that is an actual ordinance within the city. That's why I'm omitting that from my motion.
Okay.
My motion is only to recall the 3 ordinances that I listed,
And reinstating
And
the office and job
which-
duties of the city administrator.
which in essence would reinstate the office of the city administrator, correct?
All right. So a motion has been made to recall or to call for an ordinance that recalls ordinances 0102-02, 0902-03, and 012-2012, and reinstating the office and job duties of the city administrator. Did I get that correct?
Yes, sir.
Is
Yes,
there
sir.
a second? Is there a second?
I'll second.
There is a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
I was going to say before
Well, I
we
didn't
take,
hear any, I called for discussion. Is there discussion? Who?
Yes.
Who would, please.
I just want to recognize there's a lady in the audience that raised her hand as the motion was being read. I know we've already had citizen participation. I don't know if procedurally she can get up and speak or not.
Excuse me, okay. I was looking at you folks. Motion has been seconded, has been made and seconded, and we called for discussion. There was none, I called for the vote. Now, what was your concern about?
Okay. During the course of the motion, there was a member of the audience that raised their hand like they wanted to ask a question. I guess it's to Mr. Page. Since we've closed public discussion, are they able to get up and speak at this time or not?
My answer would be no. This would be the time for a vote. The time for them to talk and discuss and provide their feedback has concluded for tonight on this item.
So, a motion has been made and seconded. It is time for the vote. All in favor?
Mr. Halsey?
What? Is there a discussion?
Yes, sir.
Okay, please.
going to try to say this just best I can. So I think what the council is not wanting to, has nothing against the mayor, of his character, of his role and what he does. I just think that I've lived in multiple cities, big and small, around all over Texas, and cities that I've lived in have had a city manager, city administrator role, and that helps the mayor be the voice of the city and go out, and the city manager, city administrator is the one that is help running the city, working with public works and getting agendas and doing everything like that. I was not here when the previous city administrator was years ago. From what I've been told is he was never able to really do his job and what he was there to do. I just wanted to kind of read off some of the things that a mayor is, represents the city, is the voice of the city, represents city official events, meetings, interactions with other governments. He's a spokesperson, helps set the strategic direction of the city, works with city council. He presides over city council meetings and votes if it's a tie. And the role of a city administrator is day-to-day operations, oversees city departments, public works, police, parks, etc., utilities. He ensures that city services are running smoothly and efficiently, handles city contracts, purchasing, internal policies, budgets, annual budgets, tracks the spending and reports financial performance to the council, and carries out the decisions made by the mayor and the council. Provides professional advice to elected officials, and other things. And I think that the council has nothing against the mayor and his character and what he's done. Just believe that our city needs help, and the mayor can be the voice of our city and be the face of our city, and somebody that goes out and represents us well with TxDOT, state, down in Austin, and let somebody else run the day-to-day operations. That's where the city council is coming from on this, and people have written letters and out in the audience saying that we're attacking him and don't like him. It's nothing against him. I like our mayor. I've had conversations with him, and I think he's a good man. I just think, yes, we voted him as the mayor last two elections, but I think that and I believe that we also need help running our city, and let the mayor take a less role and be the face of our city, and let somebody with expertise that does this as a professional, that does this as a profession, that knows contacts and that can help our city run better. Not that it's running bad now, but that can also help with our mayor working together. So that's what I have to say.
Mr. Mayor.
Is there any discussion?
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
For me, this is about the future. It's not an attack on you. It's about adding capacity to the city. It's about having somebody who can do the day-to-day and let you get out of the weeds. Because I think, maybe sometimes you get stuck in the weeds because there's so much to do administratively, and it doesn't allow you to be, the leader that we need and to carry that vision for the city. And we are a small town with huge things coming up. And if you are doing two roles, whoever's in this chair is doing two roles at once, administrator and mayor, that really confines what can be accomplished, because you're only one person. And one person can't do as much as this city is going to need to have done. I wish that you were a little more open to this, because not because power is being taken away, but because it's helping. It's helping you. It's allowing you to not. You told me one time your job is 24/7. That's not what your job's meant to be, because you're literally burning the candle at both ends. And I said this on Saturday. And it's not good for your health. It's not good for the long-term health of our town. It's not good for the health of our staff. It's not good for, I mean, a lot of things. And one of my previous occupations, one of the first things I had to learn how to do is say no and to build boundaries in my life so that I could be me and my work could be my work and and I could be with my family and I could be present. And I think by having another person alongside you, it would help you to be able to balance some things a little better and be able to focus more on the overarching leadership of mayor rather than getting in the weeds of evaluating staff and all the little details and all the myriad of meetings that you go to all the time. So I hope you're not feeling, I think you are because of what we've heard tonight, that you're feeling this as an attack. But to me, it's not, for me, it's not an attack. It is, we're trying to help and prepare the city, the future of this city.
I believe that a city our size that is growing tremendously every year, in a couple of years, we're going to have close to 10,000 people. And a city, even at that size, should have a city manager, city administrator helping run the city and not just one person that makes every single law of our city that has complete control. So I think as our city grows and we need to bring in businesses, we need to have somebody that can work with the mayor and that work with the city council and this city on help growing our city. So it's nothing against you, Mr. Mayor. I just don't want you to take that away.
Oh, I appreciate your concern. I do, about my health and otherwise. Do you know my doctor's name? How do you know anything about my health? But that's not to ask for you to reply.
Well,
I just being
can I?
facetious there. But with regard to what you're saying, someone along to work with, I have reached out to every one of you council members to meet with me so I can, here's what's going on, to get your input. You're supposed to be the representatives of the people. We have a representative government here, and if you didn't know it, you are the elected representatives. But you refuse, for the most part. I've met with you once. I've never met with Mr. Watkins because he won't. I've never met with Mayor Pro Tem because she won't.
May I comment to that, please, when you're done?
I've maybe met with Doug twice in passing, but never a deliberate appointment to come and talk. So I try to get your input. That would help tremendously. If you're interested, you could have that input. Now, as far as the city administrator and what you want to invoke here is that city administrator, according to these ordinances, would have authority to sign all contracts, not report to the mayor, and make and negotiate on behalf of the city. I'm not sure if you have read and understood what's in these type things. Now, you talk about day to day. We meet here, twice a month, whether we need to or not. 99% of the time we need to. We have lots of business. Now, what I do know in any business, yes, you can have, these, in fact, what you are is board of directors for the chief executive officer. That's what you are. You're a legislative body. But it seems to me you want to be the administrators of the city. That's not your job. But yet is that it is oftentimes, and if you've run a company, it is day-to-day decisions that make the difference. It's not just that 2 meetings a month that set a course and a direction, but is the day-to-day operation and administration of that city. And that is, in what Mr. Page says, the state law does not define what a chief executive officer is. But just like the attorney general, when they're confronted with that question, they will go to something like Webster Dictionary. Is that not correct, Mr. Page? Yes, they will. And in this case, we use Black's Law, the most respected legal dictionary in the country. And it states the chief executive officer is the chief administrator and the manager of the corporation. Asset Texas is a corporation. It's a nonprofit corporation. That's why we call it our corporate limits. That's where our corporation ends. Now, it's not a why do a 24/7? I say my job is 24/7. Guess what? There are professions out there. There is, like a U.S. attorney. It's 24/7. Police officer is 24/7. Fireman here that work in this city is 24/7. Public Works Director, his job is 24/7. Your job is 24/7. If you're a professional, your job is 24/7. So when I respond, yes, my job is 24/7. It is professional response. We have had to navigate particularly after the last 3 years, all the failures that had been made in the previous 15 years. There's been more done in the last 3 years than collectively in the previous 12. New roads built, and very little asset money spent towards any of that. Asset Park, or not Asset Park, the fire station park, ball fields. My gosh, we've done more in the last 2 years than had been in 15 years. Nothing had been done to that place. There was plenty of opportunity. And guess what? It was all under the management of city administrators, multiple of them. You know, there's 4 of them. We've had 4 of these folks over the last 22 years. And each one's ended in a failure. Each one of them. So I understand your reasonings. Although they may be altruistic, it doesn't particularly work out. Now, what you've been hearing is none of these comments did I solicit. Believe that or not. I didn't solicit a one of them. And they all came on their own accord just by reading the agenda. And any participation by my wife is just purely information. She doesn't try to sway one way or the other, and if you're insinuating something, be forthright about it, Mr. Doug. And so, no reply right now you need. So, it's just, thank you for your concern, but what you don't know, and if you would meet, you would discover, but you don't want to know. That's the sad part.
Mayor Halsey, I want to comment on me not meeting. When I was elected Mayor Pro Tem the first time, not this recent time, you, talked for many, many minutes about the importance of meeting, how you and Ms. Boyles had met, and that Fridays would be mostly convenient for you. I called that day to set up a meeting and was told you were out of town. And from that point on, I realized, okay, did he not want to meet? Did he get his Fridays mixed up? It was the very first one. Since then, I've emailed and I do not receive responses. So I try to communicate, I do my best, but it is a two-way street, so thank you.
You're correct, and I recall almost 4 years ago, I did call you, and what you did was chew me out and told me to never call again. Now, I know that communicating, there's a lot of
No, sir, I don't remember that
communication
happening.
with the attorney and you involved and myself and some even other council members all on the same email. You always get copied by all the council members, is that Mr. Page has recommended you need to call the mayor. You need to call the mayor, and you never do. In fact, none of you do. So, And I can produce all those emails. And I can show you what calls I've gotten or not. Nonetheless, so it is to you, a motion has been made and seconded. I'll repeat it because it's been a while since it was stated. Discuss, consider, and act on an ordinance. To recall ordinances 0102-02, 0902-03, and 012-2012, period, reinstating the office and job duties of the city administrator, period. Motion's been made and seconded. I call for the vote. All in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you, council. Item 7J, discuss, consider, and act regarding upgrades and renovations to the athletic facilities at Nance Fields and Firehouse Fields, as well as consideration of renaming Firehouse Fields to Hassett Sports Complex. This was requested by I'm trying to remember your last name. Mr. Gilbert. Councilman Gilbert, take it away.
Okay. I made this agenda item to bring up for discussion and action. We've had multiple outside organizations that have wanted to use our facilities for practice and stuff. And so we, as a city council, we're talking about upgrading our facilities to the different ones around in Keller, not especially that nice, but upgrading our ball fields. The Nance softball fields are need a lot of work, very outdated, need a lot of action on those fields. My daughter plays softball out there, and I don't have a son that plays baseball, but the ball fields out there need a lot of work. And so we would like to propose to make a master plan for the Firehouse baseball fields and for the Nance softball fields and baseball fields, and have a park master plan, and to create a football field and maybe a soccer field and add more baseball fields out there. We have 70 plus acres to work with, and we think this would be a great opportunity to create a park master plan and have maybe Hassett Sports Complex North, Hassett Sports Complex South, and that way we can have more up-to-date fields for our young kids to play. I believe that we need to invest in our young kids in this community, and they can have nice fields to play different sports on. Currently, right now,
Excuse me. Let me ask a question. I'm trying to follow you here as you want to take notes.
Okay.
This is about regarding upgrades and renovations to athletic facilities at Nance Fields and Firehouse Fields. So, what's your proposal here? Nance Fields and Firehouse Fields. What's
Correct. My proposal is I'm trying to explain that.
Well,
sorry.
I'm trying to follow.
Sorry. Currently, right now, our flag football team, they rent fields over at Eaton High School, and we have the room over in this area behind the Firehouse Fields to have a football field, and it would be great if we made a designated football field out there for the kids to play on, and have maybe a soccer field, and upgraded our amenities out there. And so I want this for action and discussion to upgrade the Nance and Firehouse Fields and determining on a name for both, and create a park master plan that we can get together with the city residents and talk about what would be great out there, because I think it would definitely help. There's been, since my daughter plays softball, other cities have said they want to come here and play softball, but they cannot play at the Nance Fields because they're not up to code for games. And so I just think that other cities has said they would like to come play here. And they said it's really not fair for us to have to go all the way to Hearst and Colleyville to play. And so I believe that we need to update these fields and our complexes, and so this is up for discussion.
Would you like to make a motion?
Or we can keep discussion. You bring up a very good point in regards to the women's softball. And the fact of our city is, like the mayor said, until the last 2 or 3 years, they put zero money into these facilities for our youth. And again, with the dynamic of our city changing from the old guard of Hazlitt, what it used to be, the 600 houses and the big lots, we are now a family-dominant city that is in desperate need of facilities that match the houses that are getting built within our city. And the fact that the women's softball is getting completely left by the wayside, one is insulting, and we need to take care of our girls. But the fact of the matter is we have the facilities to be able to create Nance into a softball complex for the girls and let the girls have their own field and access and be able to play home games at home instead of having to travel to other municipalities. And the Firehouse fields have plenty of ability. You could put in 3 fields, renovate them, and then take the practice fields, make a clover, and then you can still add in a football field and a soccer field. And then you're gonna need to extend the parking, because anybody that's been to those fields for any kind of fall ball or spring ball, there's zero parking. You have to park on the grass, you have to park everywhere where there's no parking signs because there's nowhere else to park. So you could extend the parking lot from where it sits all the way up to the fire station, because we own all that land. And we could easily make this work. So your idea of a master plan to put before this council, so that way we can have some kind of structure to plan out the growth and development for our children, because the kids are everything that matters. And if we want to keep our kids healthy, and we want to keep our kids happy, and we want to provide facilities that we can be proud of as a city, then I agree with you 100% on your motion, sir. I think that where you're at is right, spot on, in the fact that we need to start giving back more to our children, and we need to give back to facilities that can, not have, for my personal example, a little sister who had cerebral palsy and was in a wheelchair until she passed away and couldn't even get pushed out to those fields to watch the games. Or my mother, who, before she passed away, had to sit in the car on the outside field because she couldn't get her walker all the way because the cracks might have her fall into it. Which, if you want to see the cracks, go out to the field right now. You'll see the Grand Canyon out there. So this is something that is desperately needed for our city. It's desperately needed for our youth, and it's desperately needed for everybody to make this city a better place for our kids.
So after our budget workshop, we did put in the budget to have a master park plan. He did not email me. I was not CC'd on this agenda, Mayor Halsey, so I didn't know what this was about. But I know at our budget meeting on Saturday, we talked about having a master park plan and doing something with the ball field. So could this item be something we continue after we get the plans, or, moving forward, we need to see what those studies and those plans look like. I like all this. Obviously, I'm for softball 100%, and these kids need some areas to play that are safe and equitable. So is this something that we can do, or act on tonight, or since our budget already, we talked about that Saturday, is there more, Mr. Gilbert, that you're thinking?
I just, I know over the years, before I was on city council, that Mr. Halsey, or Mayor Halsey, worked on the parking lot and worked on different things out at the Firehouse Fields, and would have greatly appreciated in all the work that he's done out there. And we talked at the budget workshop about putting more money to the Firehouse Fields and putting more money into, talking about putting money into the Hazlitt Fields, the Nance Fields. But after discussion on that, we decided that it'd be good to do a master plan before we start putting in money, and then we do a master plan, and then we want to move the restrooms and do things. And so we believe that it would be good to do a master plan for this, because I think it'd be great for our city.
So let me ask, would you So is what I'm ascertaining from this is to do a master plan of the firehouse fields and do a master plan for Nance Fields.
Correct, all the
And
whole.
then, from that, we deduce what projects to take out of that.
Correct, sir. And I would like to work with HSA, softball and baseball and all the sports that HSA offers and find out what they would like and where to get their input, because I know that I don't want to just do it with us. I would like to get their input. And so, yes, sir. Oh, I guess.
Again, Joel Bullard, 108 Early, HSA president. We've also got vice president in the audience as well. This is an outstanding idea, although I do oppose changing the name of Mansfield. That land and that property, everything that's there was donated by the Nance family, and I think that name needs to live on. Now, as far as Haskell Sports Complex, that's far from what we currently have, obviously. I've been a part of HSA since 2011, 2012. Been president the last 7 years, something like that. And have begged the city for help. Wasn't until Mr. Halsey come in that we started seeing some action on that. Got the ADA sidewalk put in, talking about the wheelchair. Parking lot was paved. There used to be a mud line out there when it rained. It was ridiculous. We spend more time pulling people out of the mud than we did watching baseball.
Don't forget the road.
And the road, chip sealing the road, that's right. I can't tell you how many hours I put on a Bobcat up and down that road getting the ruts out of it. So, this is a great idea. I think it definitely needs to be a partnership between the city and HSA. I've seen, to this point, probably 3 master plans presented. And you see what we still have today. Nothing. Nothing's been done.
And, and you're right. It's great to make plans, but if you don't act on something, we just came in and started doing the obvious. The obvious. So it's not for lack of, but I have seen some master plans, oh my God, every inch of it had some kind of field or another on it, but it had less parking than what we got out there now. What do we know about that? We need more parking. But, so is your motion, I'm just trying to, is your motion to, let's develop master plans for Nance Field and Firehouse Fields?
Yes, sir, and I would like to just respond to.
Huh?
Yes, sir, and I would just kind of like to.
Sure, that's,
Yeah.
I'm trying
Yes,
to work with this and get to where we're headed.
Yes, sir.
Okay, but please go right ahead, Mr. Bullard.
So you speak, Tanya, about the budget. How much money was budgeted for?
I think, y'all correct me, 300,000
So we
for a
budgeted,
master park plan to be done.
$300,000 for a park master plan for both the Nance Fields and all 77 acres, wanting to master plan the entire thing and not just one little area, but the entire.
I
Firehouse.
don't recall it including the 77 acres, 78 acres.
And so the whole
And,
entire
And
78
that was not an
acres.
additional cost, it was taken from another item that we detracted from, so it wasn't additional money.
So is the 300,000 for the plan?
Yep.
Correct.
Yeah.
We don't think it's gonna be that much, we
They don't
hope.
want to touch doing anything down there, actually.
Oh, that's just for the plan. We also have, well, can we talk about the budget right now? I don't, did you hear me?
Well, we're talking about a master plan. I think a master plan for Nance Fields and Firehouse Fields,
And the 78.
just doing the master plan. And we're not talking about construction plans.
Right.
Master plans, $300,000 will go a long way.
Have we looked at previous plans that have been, we've spent money on, and
Yes,
nobody's done anything?
No, I don't believe so.
but that answer is yes.
So we haven't as council, but you have seen
The
them?
council hasn't, and that's, we have searched and pulled those up. We can bring those back, and the council can review them.
But that's $300,000 that we could save if we could just tweak what we've already got.
If There are already plans that are out there that you think could be manipulated, and they've already been done. We'd love to see them, I can speak for myself only. I would like to see them as a way to save money. But there's other monies in the budget specifically for the fields. That's not. There's more.
Yeah, 'cause you talk about lighting and, millions.
With it,
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
so you said not to change the Nance Field, and I totally understand that. As we were talking the other day about having that as the Nance softball fields, because to have multiple games going on there, if we're able to have that and move it up to code, we can have more games going on, 2 games going on at once, and move the 14U over to behind the firehouse, and that just have baseball. We talked about bringing back, the reason why we called it complex is to bring football over there instead of going to Eaton High School. We talked about maybe putting in a soccer field if HSA wanted to start a soccer league. And so we wanted to leave it open for us to do multiple things out there and not just, small baseball. And so we have 78 acres to play with. And so that's the reason why we wanted to call it a complex, because it'd be more than just baseball. And so I think, and we were talking that if we are upgrading this, then we could have baseball tournaments, from 6U to, 14U, we could have multiple tournaments all day, weekend tournaments. Those bring in a lot of money to the city. And so that's the reason why all 5 of us on city council have the budget workshop and have been fully supportive and want to help the city and bring in these tournaments and upgrading these fields. I have a daughter that loves softball, and it's, I think she has a good, she's really good, and so I want her to have a nice field for, and so, and I don't have a son, so I can't talk about the baseball fields, but I've driven by and seen them, and I know they could use some work, and so we're talking about just upgrading it. So and we want you to be involved, and so that's the reason why we would like to talk to all the sports. And so this would be something, meeting with you and the planner, the landscape planner, architect, to be able to plan this out together.
And sir, also, I want to give Mayor credit for Saturday. We were talking about some of this, and he said he doesn't know, and some of us are a little familiar, but Gary was interested as well in learning about how a tournament being here would work and what kind of money would come into the city, how the facility, so could you maybe work with the mayor and we can talk about, what does it look like to have a tournament here? What would the city need to provide? What would the income possibly be? Because that's kind of a model that some cities haven't had. But I also know, like Mr. Gilbert over there was saying, my boys play baseball, but they are no longer here because one of them's in select ball, one of them's in Keller at advanced rec, because we don't have advanced teams here. And we go all over the place. Well, we go all over the place playing tournaments, and there's not a lot of fields west of Keller, except for the couple that we've got, basically. So we know there's a crying need, and HSA, correct me if I'm wrong, goes on a waiting list almost every season, right, for baseball. So there's the one question I've had. Maybe I'm getting a little too far afield.
We are. We need to get, if you read the agenda.
We'll talk later.
We need to focus on this agenda item and limit our discussion to that. So will you make a motion,
Well, my
please?
question is, do we need a motion since we did it at the budget workshop?
We need a motion here for this agenda item.
Can I throw a motion that we table this?
Yes.
Can we do that?
You can make a motion.
Or no?
Please, make a motion. I'm asking you to make a motion. You have raised your hand.
I would like to make a motion to table this agenda item and as the renaming, because we already have the master plan in the budget and it's already in the works.
Okay, well, that is part of this agenda item. What about the rest of the agenda?
So you're not wanting to rename it Hassett Sports Complex, is what you're saying? 'Cause we already
We have on here, discuss, consider, and act regarding upgrades and renovations to the athletic facilities at Nance Field and Firehouse Fields. Your motion could be purely as simple, I make a motion to develop a master plan for Nance Field and Firehouse Fields for upgrades and renovations, and you're done.
Yes.
Sounds good.
Would
And
you
the
like to do
78
that,
and the
make that
78
motion?
acres as well?
Would you like to make that motion?
Me?
No,
Before a motion is made,
no, I can't, we're not involved in making motions here.
no,
You're
before
not.
a motion is made, I want to say we need to use the plans we've got.
Well, we have those, we can bring those back, that's all part of the discussion in developing a master
Before
plan.
we move
Is
forward,
reviewing
okay.
what was there. Thank you, and if you're finished, we will, please have a seat.
So, Mr. Page, I just had a,
Thank
I
you
just had a
very much.
question. Do we have to make a motion since there's an agenda item that says it, or do we?
You could just table it. If you don't want to discuss it any further, then tabling it would just permanently, pretty much end
Until
the
it came
discussion
off the table.
until someone were to request it again.
Or we can just adapt the motion, like the Mayor Halsey said, to where we make a motion to create the master plan based off his
I just want
agenda
to
item.
make sure it's.
Since we've
but this
already
doesn't say
allocated the
78
budget.
acres. This is Nanceville and Firehouse, and we want to include the 78. So does it have to be limited to what is written right here?
There are different aspects you would have to address to include the 78
Right.
acres.
And if that's not what we want to do, then
Because
that's fine.
that was purchased with funds with very specific intents, and it wasn't ball fields.
Okay.
So you might just go ahead and make progress on Mansfield and what you have on this agenda item.
Mr. Mayor, can I ask what that 78 acres or that rest of the property was bought for, or zoned or bought for?
Yes, it was bought for agrarian theme development when it was shown to the EDCs A and B and the city councils, no less. 3 different city councils voted in favor of it.
No, that was all,
But
An
it's
executive.
it was inclusive of Farmers Market Pavilion and Teaching Gardens. It also had on front end plans for a rec center, and on the back end would have been the far east
I
side.
remember those being discussed, those plans, but I thought they were only, to my recollection, was only executive. There was never anything in open session about what was going to
But
be put
that's-
there.
And it was voted on after the executive sessions.
I don't-
And then
can you tell me-
also
can you tell me that
with the
meeting?
equestrian center, I have the plans, I will show them to you.
Yeah, and you can tell me the meeting
Make
date
an
when we did
appointment
that?
with me and we'll
You
go
can-
over them.
You can tell me the,
Will
I would
you-
prefer, here's, I'm going to say this, here's what I would prefer. Instead of one-on-one, I'm a teacher, if the principal met one-on-one with every teacher, instead of having a faculty meeting, it's not getting the same information out. I think it's not a very effective way to communicate, and I think that the citizens also need to hear about the plans. So I just need my memory refreshed. I apologize. I usually write things down. What
Oh.
meeting we voted on those plans other than the farmer's market? Just an email with a
Yeah.
meeting date. That'd be great.
Very
Please.
good.
Thank
But
you.
And
why
the
don't you go ahead and
78
make
acres
prog-
aren't on tonight's agenda either.
Right.
So we would need to kind of circle back on what we're actually.
Did you just want to
agendas.
table this item, or you want to do Dansfield and Firehouse Field per this agenda item?
I would like to do Nanceville and Firehouse, but I didn't know that we could not do 78 acres, that whole area. I was told we owned all that and that could be planned, so,
It's a different
I
topic.
understand that now,
Why
so
don't you go ahead
yes.
and make progress here on Nance and Firehouse Fields?
I would like to make a motion to table this item for a future agenda date.
Motion's made to table this item for a future agenda date. Is there a second?
Mayor, I'll second that.
There is a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. Thank you, council. Item 7K, discuss, consider, and act regarding providing information in a timely manner or directing city staff to do so to the Chamber of Commerce when requested, and this was requested by Mr. Carruthers. So what's the topic here?
I've had several requests from the chamber that they have had requests into our city both to you and to the staff, and have had a lot of trouble getting the requisite information that they were requesting, especially in a timely manner. They're planning on welcoming us back next week and wanted to have good information for that, and said they had to ask multiple times before they were, and I never really heard whether they ever got the information or not. So I just want to make sure that, we have voted to be on in the Chamber of Commerce, and I want to make sure to direct both the mayor and the staff to, if the Chamber of Commerce has a request for information, that information gets done in a timely manner.
Yes, I don't think Ms. Aldridge actually sent me email. I might have got a copy or something, but it was to city secretary or others. And, but long story short, Ms. Aldridge and I forget the chairman's name. We have a meeting set up. I believe it's this week. And we're meeting on that. And I got a email from Mr. Schwenke requesting that I write a letter and a blurb about the city. So we're working on it.
If I may, Susan Ulrich contacted me, and I'm in the process of developing some information. And one of them is a letter from the mayor, and I've sent the mayor sample copies of what all the other cities that are on the website have done, so he can sort of model it after them. Some are rather long, and some have videos, but it can be rather short. And then the rest of it is just going to be some photographs of the city and a little write-up of the location, what the existing population is, and that's what she's asked for, and I'm working on it.
Thank you, sir.
Does that satisfy your needs?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Good. Can we go on to the next agenda item? Very good. Council, any of you want to say anything of that? All right, we'll move on to the next item, which is back up at the top, is discuss and consider an act regarding proposed FY 2025-26 budget. Any comments that you want to make on the budget? And that's really, this is kind of a catch-all item.
Yeah, I had one. I just couldn't remember what we decided on. I brought my budget. I don't know if on the Nanceville parking lot. Did we decide to move forward with the asphalt to go ahead and have something done because it might take some time for the plan and the details and the implementation? I just can't remember.
Yeah, that was my understanding, that we go ahead and do the parking lot.
Okay, perfect. So I just want to make sure that is in the agenda or in the budget.
Can we just do a motion to approve the budget as we worked on Saturday?
You're going to have that opportunity another day.
Okay, so
Right,
what do we need to do for 7G?
Nothing. You
Well,
know,
we need-
this is just a catch-all. If you wanted to make any particular comments about it.
I think we worked on it for 9 hours 2 days ago.
We're voting Monday, next Monday.
All right.
Okay, next Monday.
I had one other item. Since we did act on recalling the ordinance, do we need to put in the pay for a possible city administrator and department administration? Because it's
Well,
not.
you haven't approved an ordinance yet that does
made
all
a-
that. That's coming at the next council meeting.
Right, so we adopt the budget on the 18th?
Yes.
That's correct? So that would be, and we have until the 18th to make that change into our budget?
Yes.
So we can make it on the 11th or the 18th? Not the 11th,
Yes, ma'am.
but the 18th, okay.
Yes, ma'am. You can change it.
I just wanna make
Change it
sure.
all the way up to the day that you adopt it.
Which is the 18th, okay, all right, perfect, thank you. And then you talked about the uniforms, okay, I'm good.
All right. Okay, we're good on 7G. Move on to 7H. Says, discuss, consider, and act to establish a proposed tax rate for fiscal year 2025-2026 and set a public hearing on the 2025 tax rate for August 18th.
So do we just need a motion
2025.
as such?
Now, the tax rate, now, this is not to set the tax rate, is purely a proposed tax rate. At a later date this month, you will actually set that tax rate. This is a formality to set a proposed tax rate. And if you'll open up the documents there, we have, I don't know which one it is. Oh, wait a minute. Tax rate calculation worksheet. You don't need that one per se. All rates calculated. What was the July sales, the certification, July certification? Okay, if we move on down, scroll down on that. I apologize, I wish I had a hard copy out here of that for me. Do you have a hard copy of that? Agenda item, that answer is no, okay. Huh? All right, we are looking, okay, at the bottom recommended tax rate. It's on a summary page. Go back to the agenda item report. Go to the bottom of that page. All right, right there, recommended tax rate. There you are. The recommended tax rate that proposed, that's what you're doing tonight, would be a proposed, is the 0.315450 cents per $100 value. And Marcy Lamb discussed with you what that was, how it is calculated. And that is what we're asking for you to approve tonight as the proposed. The actual tax rate comes at a later date.
Mr. Halsey, or Mayor Halsey, we don't have to do the roll vote on this one. It's the next one.
We're just setting a public hearing
For the next one. Okay, thank you.
And that is next Monday, right?
The 11th.
So,
Oh, 18th? Oh, okay.
what's next Monday? Okay. I make a motion to approve the proposed tax rate and set a future hearing date for August 18th.
Okay, and the proposed tax rate of what?
Okay.
Right here.
0.315450 is the total proposed rate at the bottom, right?
I would add per $100.
Per $100.
Is that recommended tax rate line right there?
Gotcha.
Read that.
I do a motion to recommend the fiscal year 24-25 tax rate, except it's not. It's the 25-26 tax
Yeah,
rate.
I was going to say.
Not 24, 25, 25, 26.
Right. 25-26 tax rate of 0.31545 per 100. And this rate is derived as follows and set a hearing for August 18th.
Very good.
Can I, real quick, Katrina, we make a note on the minutes here that where it says the recommended tax rate that fiscal year 24-25 be changed to 25-26?
Well, there's also up at the top too. It says 25, it should be 26, right?
Yes, but it is correct on the agenda.
Okay.
Thank you.
And again, in your motion, you stated the correct year.
Right.
That's what counts.
Yep.
All right, we're on 7H. Motion's been made to establish a proposed tax rate of 0.31545 cents dollars per $100. That's valuation. And also set a public hearing on the 2025 tax rate for August 18th, 2025. Did I cite that correctly?
Yes, sir.
Is there a second?
Mayor Halsey, I'll second.
There is a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? I'm sorry.
James, second. Call the question.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous.
Hey,
Thank you.
Real quick, Jeremy, Item 7G, do we need to make a motion for 7G?
No action was taken, again, because the budget will be approved next Monday, so there's no.
Okay, so that was,
There's nothing that needs to happen there.
all right, so it's not a discuss, consider, and act, it was more just discuss.
There's nothing
Okay,
to
thank you.
do on this, yeah. All right, that was all our items. All right, executive session, there's no need to go to executive session. Future agenda items, you have a list packed, Katrina? Okay, believe me, there are probably no less than about 15 items for the future agenda items. We'll email the list out to all of you tomorrow. It was a coordination thing, evidently.
Mr. Mayor, can I say one thing?
Yes.
Everybody, don't forget, email your pictures of name tags he asked for this week.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I haven't received any yet.
Well, it's only been 2 days.
We'll get it
I'm still Googling some.
when you get around to it.
Yeah, I got a couple of those.
All right, then. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Motion is made to adjourn. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous.
Praise the Lord, let's go home.